Chapter 766. As the figure landed, another figure soared through the air and appeared on the mountain peak where Du Xiaofu was at in a ghostly manner, completely silent and undetectable. Pucci, in an ancient and vast space, an otherworldly woman with her eyes closed suddenly opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. My heart feels like it's being stabbed. Why is it like this? The girl's eyes reddened as her body trembled. She felt extremely uncomfortable in her heart, as though someone was digging her heart out. She murmured, "Everyone says that twins can share the same sentiments. My dear brother, are you the one suffering right now?" Energy fluctuated. Within the ancient space, a beautiful woman was sitting cross-legged. She was also as arrogant as ever. Chi. Suddenly, the beautiful woman opened her eyes. She placed one hand on her chest. Her eyes flickered and her face was pale. Her chest was trembling from the intense pain. It was a heart-wrenching pain. On the mountain peak, a middle-aged man with disheveled hair came. He was wearing a dark robe and it was unknown how long it had been since he last washed it. He looked like a beggar. However, one could vaguely see that under his disheveled hair was an extremely handsome face. The person walked towards Du Xiaofu. His eyes were slightly red and moist, and he stumbled all the way as if he was drunk. "You're not lucky. You're not as lucky as Xiaojing. You silly boy." The middle-aged man walked towards Du Xiaofu. He waved his hand and a dazzling light enveloped Du Xiaofu's chest, stopping Du Xiaofu's bleeding. "Second young master, give this item to this child too." After he sighed, Elder Ming appeared on the mountain peak. A long leaf appeared in his hand. The leaf was glowing and the mysterious runes on it shone brightly. It attracted the energy of heaven and earth. On Elder Ming's wrinkled face, his eyes sighed. The leaf in his hand was folded into the shape of a heart. It was wrapped in mysterious runes and he passed it to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man turned his head and looked at Elder Ming. He nodded slightly and stuffed the leaf into Du Xiaofu's chest. A vast amount of energy surged into Du Xiaofu's chest. Du Xiaofu still stood tall and straight as he gazed at Elder Ming, and a dazzling and powerful heart throbbed within his palm as he tossed it over and said, "Quickly go save my younger sister. Remember what you promised me, otherwise, I'll absolutely not let all of you off even if I'm in the netherworld." I've sinned. Elder Ming took Du Xiaofu's heart. Light rippled on his wrinkled face and he left. "It's finally done." High up in the sky, Protector Qing Yu looked at Du Xiaofu, who was on the mountain peak, with a cold glint in her eyes. Then she left with Elder Ming. "For you." On the mountain peak, Du Xiaofu looked at the middle-aged man with disheveled hair. His face was pale, blood dripped from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were white. "Your mother called me second brother." The middle-aged man's hand seals changed and the light faded. The blood on Du Xiaofu's chest had stopped, and it seemed to have healed. "Oh." Du Xiaofu nodded slightly. He looked at the middle-aged man and said, "Can I leave now?" "You shouldn't have come here. It's better to leave this place as soon as possible. You shouldn't have come here." The middle-aged man nodded. He turned his head to look at the glowing figure in the sky. His eyes seemed to ripple under his disheveled hair. His voice was still hoarse as he said, "My beloved big brother, just give him what you promised him." He exchanged his heart for it. The flowing light in the sky fluctuated, and a Qinquan bag fell. Then, the gentle voice continued, "Second brother, pay attention to your status. Send him out of the clan. Return to where he came from." As the voice faded, the glowing figure slowly disappeared. That terrifying aura also disappeared from the surroundings. "This is the boundless wood. Keep it well. It was exchanged with your life." The middle-aged man handed the Qinquan bag to Du Xiaofu. Then he handed a pill to Du Xiaofu and said, "This is the vitality pill. It can keep you alive for a short period of time. As for how long it can keep you alive, I don't know. Everything will depend on the will of the heavens. I hope a miracle will happen in the remaining time. This is all I can do for you." Du Xiaofu didn't say anything. He took the pill from the middle-aged man and stuffed it into his mouth. His body became weaker and weaker, and he couldn't hold on any longer. Finally he fainted. Stone City, Du family. Late at night it was still brightly lit. So ruthless, so ruthless. How can they be so ruthless? In a room in the courtyard, Zhen Qingxuan's illusory body trembled. His inverted triangular eyes were filled with rage and chilling intent. He viciously slammed his hand down, causing a wooden table in the room to shatter into pieces. Brother Qingchun, what happened to Xiaofu? Du Xiaoman looked at the young man lying on the bed. His face was pale, his breathing was weak, and his body was covered in blood. Her eyes were wet with worry. Hearing Zhen Qingxuan's words, she became even more nervous. Heart gouge, his heart has been gouged out. It's all my fault. I knew I couldn't let him go alone. Nothing good will come out of those people's arrival. It's all my fault. Those bastards, no matter who they are, Zhen Qingchun, swear that I won't let them go. Zhen Qingchun's eyes were filled with anger as he shouted, "It's all my fault. I knew I couldn't let him go alone." Heart gouge. Hearing this, Du Xiaoman's body trembled violently. Her delicate body staggered and sat on the edge of the bed. Her eyes instantly turned white. Cough. On the bed, Du Xiaofu coughed softly. His eyelashes moved slightly, and then he opened his eyes. Two familiar faces appeared in front of him. How did I come back? Looking at the two familiar faces, Du Xiaofu's pale face revealed a smile. 7 days ago, you suddenly lay at the gate. We didn't know who sent you back. Third brother, what happened to you? Don't scare me. Du Xiaoman was worried. 7 days ago, someone found Du Xiaofu at the gate. His body was covered in blood and his breathing was weak. The whole Du family was worried. It's been so many days. I didn't think I would still be alive. Du Xiaofu struggled to stand up. He smiled bitterly. It seemed that those people had sent him back. Did they do it? Zhen Qingchun looked at Du Xiaofu and asked, a cold light flashing in his eyes. With the help of his elder sister Du Xiaoman, Du Xiaofu stood up dispiritedly. The purple gold heavenly tower was still on his body. He let out a sigh of relief and looked at Zhen Qingchun. Brother Qingchun, do you know everything? You don't even have a heart. How could I not know? You're still alive because there's life force in your body supporting you. There's a treasure in your chest, but all of this can't last for long. The heart is the most important of the 5 organs. There's no way to reverse the situation. What did they do to you? Zhen Qingchun asked as he stared at Du Xiaofu. His illusory eyes were filled with rage, and they were also moist. I did it myself. Du Xiaofu looked at Zhen Qingchun and smiled. Hearing this, Zhen Qingchun seemed to understand something. His illusory body trembled and he asked, I understand now. Your sister's illness has something to do with the heart. They needed your heart, so they came to find you. Is that right? It's all in the past. Du Xiaofu didn't say much. He looked at his elder sister Du Xiaoman and said, Elder sister, uncle and the others don't know about this yet, right? My father and second uncle only know that you're seriously injured. They don't know that even your heart is... Du Xiaoman's words were on the tip of her tongue, but her throat began to choke. She had heard Zhen Qingchuan's serious words just now. What's more, if one's heart was not there, how could one live? Promise me that you won't tell uncle and second uncle. I don't want them to worry, Du Xiaofu said to Du Xiaoman. Du Xiaoman choked with sobs and nodded. She looked at Du Xiaofu and said, What about you? What will you do? I don't have much time left. Du Xiaofu felt that although there was still life in his body, he wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. In addition, he had used the heavenly palace of purple gold. There was also a terrifying evil spirit in his body that even the golden-winged rock technique couldn't suppress. Misfortunes never come singly. This time, Du Xiaofu knew that he really wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. By the way, Brother Qingchun, I found what you wanted. See if it's the endless wood. However, it doesn't seem to be the bark of the endless wood. It's a section. I don't know if it'll be useful to you. Du Xiaofu handed a Qiankuan bag to Zhen Qingchun. Zhen Qingchun was slightly stunned. He opened the Qiankuan bag and an arm-length branch emitted a multicolored light. Energy fluctuated and an endless aura fluctuated. Endless wood. This is the branch of the endless wood. It's much better than the bark. I really need this kind of treasure. Zhen Qingchun was shocked. Then he was pleasantly surprised. However, his expression changed immediately. He looked at Du Xiaofu and asked, "Did you exchange for this?" Du Xiaofu shook his head and said to Zhen Qingchun, "How long can I live? I don't know. No one can live without a heart. You're already a miracle now. You're also supported by the life in your body." Zhen Qingchun's gaze was extremely serious. He thought of countless methods in his mind, but none of them worked. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu was absent-minded for a moment. Then he said to Du Xiaoman, "Big sister, has anyone from the imperial capital come to Stone City recently?" Chapter 767. You're talking about the first princess, right? Du Xiaoman shook her head. She looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "She hasn't been here before. There are some things that I don't know if I should tell you." "What is it?" Du Xiaofu asked curiously. His elder sister wasn't a fussy person. This matter should be special. Du Xiaoman sighed. Then she told Du Xiaofu about the national celebration. Du Xiaoman frowned and continued, "This time, the national celebration didn't mention you, the brave god king, nor did they mention the World Society or the Heavenly Beast Hall. However, the imperial capital sent people to Chaos Demon City. They said that they were here to thank you on behalf of the imperial palace and the empire. They brought many gifts. The Stone Dragon Empire's little scheme is obviously because they are afraid of you overshadowing them. After all, the Du family of the Du residents has a lot of roots in the military. They are also afraid that you will steal the limelight from the Great Will sect. If I'm not wrong, the Stone Dragon Empire intends to rely on the Great Will sect in addition to the Divine Light Court." Zhen Qingchun looked at him with disdain. He said, "It's just a small empire. Why would they be afraid of you?" Sigh. Before he finished speaking, Zhen Qingchun sighed again. He looked at Du Xiaofu and couldn't help but worry. If it was in the past, this kid wouldn't even care about a small empire. However, this kid didn't even care about it now. Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly and said softly to Zhen Qingchun and his elder sister, "Du Xiaoman, I'd better make a trip to the imperial capital. There's not much time left. If I can go somewhere, I'll go somewhere. With your current situation, you can only go to the Ancient Sky sect first. Although I can't do anything, I hope the Ancient Sky sect can. I hope that a miracle will happen." Zhen Qingchun said to Du Xiaofu seriously. Zhen Qingchun knew that Du Xiaofu had a special relationship with the Ancient Sky sect. If there was a way, the Ancient Sky sect would definitely do their best. That kind of large sect had a huge foundation and might have a way. "Let's go to Dragon City first while we still have some time," Du Xiaofu said with a smile. He insisted on making a trip to the imperial capital. He hoped to be able to settle some matters in the remaining time. A moment later, Du Xiaofu arrived outside the courtyard. At this moment, outside the courtyard, Du Zhixiong, Du Zhenwu, and the other Du family clansmen stood together with Yuan Li, the mysterious Dragon King, the Flame Carp King, the Golden Condor King, and the Solitary Sword King. Seeing Du Xiaofu walk out, the worry in everyone's eyes eased a little, and they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. "I'm fine. Don't worry, everyone. Go and rest." Du Xiaofu waved his hand, and a smile appeared on his pale face. Being able to see his clansmen in the end was already a blessing from the heavens. A moment later, Yuan Li, the mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, and the Solitary Sword King gathered in the room. They all looked at Du Xiaofu with a solemn, worried, frightened, and shocked expression. "How can one live without a heart? Who did this? My Ancient Sky sect will never let him go." Yuan Li shouted angrily, and his eyes were filled with worry. He said to Du Xiaofu, "Junior brother, let's go back to the Ancient Sky sect and think of a way. We can't delay any longer." "Third senior brother, I'll go to the imperial capital first, and then return to the Manchu." After Du Xiaofu finished speaking, he said to the mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, and the Solitary Sword King, "I didn't hide my situation from you. I can die at any time. Go to the chaotic demon city to get the antidote for the goo poison pill. You'll be free in the future, and you won't be restricted by me anymore." The mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, and the solitary sword king looked at each other, and their eyes changed. Master, I'm a demonic beast. I didn't take the goo poison pill, but since I've already submitted to you, I'll submit to you as long as you're alive. Even if you leave, I'll still be Du Hao's master. The mysterious Dragon King stepped forward and bowed his head respectfully. The mysterious Dragon King was a demonic beast, a Xianyun scarlet dragon. He had a proud bloodline, but since he had already submitted, he wouldn't change his mind. Third young master, I, the solitary sword king, am not talented, but as long as you're alive, you're my master. The solitary sword king nodded and bowed. The golden condor king will continue to follow you. The golden condor king stepped forward. We'll continue to follow you. Chanyu Xiu, the flame carp king, and the others all bowed. In the beginning, they were forced to follow him, but after this period of time, they knew that the young man in front of them was an overlord in martial arts, and he could conquer countries. From the fact that he didn't hesitate to build the entire stone city, they could see how skilled he was in both civil and military matters. If he was able to come out unscathed, he wouldn't even need 30 years to achieve his grand ambitions, and his might would shake Central State. It was a pity that the heavens were jealous of geniuses. Such a young overlord had met with such misfortune, and it was a pity. But in their hearts, they were already convinced. Moreover, they knew very well how many benefits they had obtained. Following by his side for a period of time was enough to be a great opportunity. Looking at the people in front of him, Du Xiaofu nodded slightly and didn't say anything more. Compared to his mother's clan, the mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, and Chanyu Xiu, who had once tried to kill him, were undoubtedly more heartwarming to him. The next morning, outside the gate of the Du family, Du Zhixiong, Du Zhenwu, and many other aunties brought many spiritual medicines and elixirs to Du Xiaofu. Xiaofu, you're too pale and your breath is weak. You brought all these spiritual medicines and elixirs back. See if any of them are useful. Take them quickly. Child, take all these elixirs and spiritual medicines. You look so weak. I'm worried. Why did you go out now? Father, second uncle, auntie, take them back. These spiritual medicines and elixirs won't be able to cure third brother's injuries. We'll think of something. Don't worry too much. Du Xiaoman stood in front of Du Xiaofu and said. Although she spoke casually, her eyes were serious. She didn't want Du Xiaofu to talk too much. She was afraid that it would affect his body and drain his vitality. This was what Jin Qingchun had told her. Xiaofu, what's wrong with you? Why are you like this after going out for a few days? Du Zhenwu was worried. It wasn't difficult for him to see Du Xiaofu's serious condition. His daughter Du Xiaoman's serious expression couldn't escape his prying eyes as her father. Uncle, don't worry. Don't worry about me. Du Xiaofu forced a smile on his pale face. Looking at the clansmen around him, he was very happy. Father, don't let Xiaofu talk anymore. He needs to rest. Du Xiaoman stopped the clansmen and signaled the mysterious Dragon King to take Du Xiaofu away. The mysterious Dragon King transformed into a Xianyun scarlet dragon and hovered in the air. His aura rumbled and resounded throughout the stone city. Then, everyone left for the imperial capital of the Stone Dragon Empire. Dragon City was still the same as before. It was bustling with activity and noise. The brave God King is back. Suddenly, Dragon City was in an uproar. Someone saw the brave God King's figure appear in the imperial capital. According to the people in Enlightenment City and many generals, the brave God King led many experts in the Battle of Enlightenment City and slaughtered many experts from the three empires. That was how we managed to fend off the three empires. I heard about it too. If it wasn't for the brave God King leading experts to rescue us, we would have been defeated before the Great Luan sect arrived. I heard that the battle lasted for several months. If it wasn't for the World Union and Sky Beast Hall under the brave God King, we wouldn't have been able to fend them off for so long. The national celebration, the brave God King, World Union, and Sky Beast Hall didn't even mention him. It's disappointing. I heard that the North vanquishing monarch went to the palace to speak for the brave God King. I don't know why, but there was no news in the end. Did the brave divine king come to Dragon City to ask for an explanation? I heard that the first princess and the brave god king have been together for a long time. Why do I see the first princess and the saint of the great Luan sect together? The brave god king is the protector of the Stone Dragon Empire. Although the Du royal residence is no longer around, the brave god king is still from the Du family. They have protected our empire for thousands of years. Perhaps, this is what the palace is afraid of. Lower your voice. There are some things that we can't talk about. We don't want to invite trouble. The brave god king's arrival in Dragon City had stirred up the entire imperial capital. Marquis of the Dragon City Armored Army leads the Dragon City Armored Army to pay our respects to the brave god king. Marquis of Dapa City's 3 Union is here to pay our respects to the brave god king. Marquis of the Stone Dragon Empire's 4th Army, Marquis of Chi Ming and Marquis of Sky Spirit are here to pay our respects to the brave god king. Marquis of the Stone Dragon Empire's 5th Army, Marquis of Heavenly Sun is here to pay our respects to the brave god king. We welcome the brave god king back to the imperial capital. Outside the brave god king's mansion, a dense crowd of figures stood in an orderly manner. Many forces and generals in the imperial capital's army came to pay their respects when they heard that the brave god king had returned to the imperial capital. In Enlightenment City, these people had witnessed what the brave god king had done with their own eyes. The brave god king wasn't famous during the celebration, so they felt it was unfair for him. Now that the brave god king had returned to the imperial capital, they couldn't help but pay their respects. They knew that they couldn't let the brave god king suffer. Generals and dukes, my 3rd brother is injured and can't meet all of you. He sent me here to thank all of you for your kind intentions. Thank you. I would like to thank all of you on behalf of my 3rd brother. Thank you. Du Xiaoman spoke with a sweet voice. The young lady of the Du family came out personally to explain. It seems like the brave god king is injured and can't meet us. The brave god king's injuries shouldn't be light. Not long ago, I saw the brave god king from afar. His face was pale and bloodless. Everyone was worried and didn't force the issue. They expressed their understanding. After the generals and dukes asked about the brave god king's injuries, they bade farewell and left. There were also some who couldn't bear to leave and hoped that they could meet him. Why are you so foolish? You will die if you do this. You idiot, you are so stupid. In the brave god king's residence, Ouyang Shuang heard the news and came over. After hearing about Du Xiaofu's situation from Du Xiaoman, her eyes were instantly filled with tears. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she scolded Du Xiaofu while hammering his shoulders. Chapter 768. Seeing Emperor Cheng Shuang, let's deal with him in the future. Du Xiaoman pulled Ouyang Shuang back. Her eyes were red with worry. She also wanted to beat up her 3rd brother. However, Du Xiaoman knew that her 3rd brother was in danger and he still wanted to come to the imperial capital. You bastard, I know you came to the Dragon City for Princess Cheng Shengnan. However, she left with Dong Li Chihuang 3 days ago. Why didn't you go to the Ancient Heaven sect to think of a solution? Instead, you came to the Dragon City. Do you not want to live anymore? Ouyang Shuang was pulled back by Du Xiaoman. She couldn't help but curse. She didn't care about her image as tears fell from her eyes. A few days ago, because Du Xiaofu had left Shi City, Ouyang Shuang returned to the imperial capital by herself. She also learned that the eldest princess, Cheng Shengnan, and the holy son of the Great Wheel sect had left. Everyone was silent when they heard Ouyang Shuang's curse. They also wanted to curse, but they didn't dare to. Only Ouyang Shuang dared to curse like this. She left. Hearing Ouyang Shuang's words, Du Xiaofu was slightly taken aback. His ashen face then revealed a bitter smile that did not leave a trace. Shuang, Xiaofu's injuries are serious. Don't bully Xiaofu anymore. Yuan Shanshan also went up and pulled Ouyang Shuang back. She was as worried as Ouyang Shuang. Xiaofu, you're a disciple of the Ancient Heaven sect. Go back to the Ancient Heaven sect and see if there's a solution. Ouyang Ling stayed in the imperial capital for the past few days. When he heard that Du Xiaofu was seriously injured, he naturally came over. After arriving, he understood the situation. It was more serious than he imagined. Ouyang Ling was even more worried. His handsome face was grave. Uncle Ling, I'll return to the ancient heaven sect as soon as possible. Du Xiaofu nodded and then said to the mysterious Dragon King, send me to the palace. Since they're here, I have to go. Then I'll go to Prince Ye's mansion to see Grandpa Xie. Do you really want to go to the palace? That palace? Du Xiaoman, Ouyang Shuang, and the others looked at Du Xiaofu, clearly dissatisfied with the royal family. I know what you want to say. Since I'm here, there's no harm in going. I won't have the chance to go in the future, Du Xiaofu said softly. He knew what Ouyang Shuang and Big Sister wanted to say. All right, Golden Condor King, Absolute Sword King, Flame Carp King, Stone Turtle King, Ice Python King, you guys come with me. If this palace dares to cause any trouble, I will destroy it today. Yuanli said in a deep voice. He had heard a little about the Imperial Palace's attitude towards his junior brother from Du Xiaoman and the others. In addition, he was in a bad mood recently and wanted to vent his anger. All right. Golden Condor King, Stone Turtle King, Absolute Sword King, Flame Carp King, and the others immediately stood up. At this moment, as long as Yuanli gave the order, they would immediately attack and destroy the palace. Yuan Shanshan and Ouyang Ling looked at each other and sighed helplessly in their hearts. If these people really wanted to destroy the palace, with Yuanli around, no one would be able to stop them today. Third senior brother, you can't. Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. He was really afraid that his third senior brother would really destroy the palace. According to Du Xiaofu's understanding of his third senior brother, destroying the Stone Dragon Empire was nothing to him. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. In short, from now on, I'll follow you closely. Yuanli's expression was stern. He was already extremely regretful. He shouldn't have let his junior brother leave alone a few days ago. That was why such a big thing happened now. He had no way to explain it to his master when he returned, and he was even more worried about his junior brother. As for the Stone Dragon Empire, Yuanli had been cultivating in the ancient heaven sect for dozens of years. It wasn't easy for him to come out and destroy a small empire to vent his anger for his junior brother. It really wasn't a big deal. The Imperial Palace was dazzling with gold and jade. It was still heavily guarded as usual. The brave God King is here. Greetings, brave God King. Outside the Imperial Palace, the guards were excited to see Du Xiaofu. They had long heard of the Courage God King's deeds in Enlightenment City from the army. Back in the Imperial capital, the Courage God King had severely injured the human king Lu Kuan and displayed the might of the Stone Dragon Empire. They immediately stepped forward and saluted. Inside the palace, there happened to be a young man who looked very beautiful. He had distinct eyebrows, a straight nose, and a slightly plump body. He was escorted by many people. This young man was the third prince, Qing Chao. When he saw Du Xiaofu at the entrance of the Imperial Palace, he looked at Du Xiaofu with a complicated expression. Greetings, third prince. Seeing Qing Chao, the surrounding guards immediately saluted him respectfully. Bringing so many strangers to the Imperial Palace, Du Xiaofu, what are you trying to do? Are you rebelling? Qing Chao looked at Du Xiaofu with a hint of arrogance. In the past, Qing Chao was more and more afraid of Du Xiaofu. However, it was different now. Recently, he had the support of the Great Luan Sect's saint. The Great Luan Sect's saint even promised him in private that he would let him cultivate in the Great Luan Sect. In the future, he wouldn't have to worry about Du Xiaofu anymore. Slap. However, as soon as Qing Chao finished speaking, a crisp slap landed on his face. The slap landed directly on Qing Chao's face, causing him to fall from his demonic beast mount. His face was swollen and red, and his mouth was dripping with blood. He couldn't say a word for a long time. How dare you speak the third young master's name so bluntly? Rebellion? So what if I destroy this tiny stone dragon empire? The Flame Carp King shouted loudly. He had a bad temper. The Flame Carp King knew that the third young master was accompanied by the ancient heaven sect's third senior brother. He was worried that he couldn't find a reason to destroy the Stone Dragon Empire. The surrounding people were already stunned. Behind Qing Chao, the crowd couldn't help but step back. They didn't dare to say a word. Let's go. I'm going to see the emperor. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything, nor did he look at Qing Chao. He directly entered the imperial palace. Naturally, no one dared to stop him. Cheng Chao subconsciously retreated to the side. Bullshit, Prince. Do you believe that I can destroy you at any time? Next time you see the third young master, you better behave yourself. Otherwise, I won't spare you. The mysterious Dragon King stood beside Cheng Chao and pretended to stomp on Cheng Chao. Cheng Chao was so scared that he stepped back with a pale face. Senior brother Du, father sent me to pick you up. At the same time, a girl about the same age as Cheng Chao hurried over. The girl was delicate and beautiful. Under her slender eyelashes, her eyes were big and sparkling like black gems. She was the second Princess Cheng Yen. Her originally round and cute figure was extremely hot now. Her short braids had grown into long hair. They were black and shiny, hanging down to her slim waist. Girls changed 18 times between childhood and womanhood. Cheng Yen had grown into a slender and elegant woman. She was extremely attractive. Looking at the miserable Cheng Chao not far away, Cheng Yen sighed inwardly. She didn't say anything else. The Golden Dragon Palace was grand and magnificent. It had cornices, green tiles, a group of beasts, and painted pillars. It looked mysterious and quiet. From afar, it looked like a golden palace. Third senior brother, please wait outside. I'll go in alone. In front of the Golden Dragon Palace, Du Xiaofu gestured to Yu Wanli and the mysterious Dragon King. He then entered the Golden Dragon Palace alone. Inside the Golden Dragon Palace, the Imperial Palace's dragon qi was dense. The cornices and coiling dragons, golden scales and golden armor, were vivid and lifelike, as if they were about to soar into the sky. Inside the palace, the lights were shining brightly. The Imperial Palace's dragon qi was everywhere, making it difficult for people to breathe. Their qi almost stagnated. In the center of the palace, Emperor Cheng was wearing a dragon robe. He stood with his hands behind his back. He was rather fat and not very tall, but he had an absolute majesty. Du Xiaofu walked into the palace and looked at Emperor Cheng. He didn't bow first, but just looked at him quietly. That majesty was not worth mentioning to Du Xiaofu at the moment. Nephew, I received news that you were seriously injured. I can't leave the Imperial Palace to visit you due to some special reasons. It seems that your injuries are really serious. Emperor Cheng was greatly astonished when he saw Du Xiaofu's ghastly pale face and weak aura. Emperor Cheng, you're so considerate. Greetings to Emperor Cheng. Du Xiaofu nodded slightly. By the way, nephew, thank you for the help of the World Society and the Celestial Beast Hall during this national crisis. Emperor Cheng looked at Du Xiaofu with an awkward expression. He looked at Du Xiaofu's expression and said, the national celebration Emperor Cheng, you don't have to say too much. I understand your intentions. The stability of the empire is the best. Du Xiaofu said, Nephew, I'm sorry. I'm ashamed. Emperor Cheng looked ashamed and didn't put on the airs of an emperor. Emperor Cheng, you're too polite. Du Xiaofu smiled and then asked, has the first princess gone back? Emperor Cheng's eyes flickered slightly. He said, Shengnan has returned to the Divine Light Court. It's said that there will be a grand event in the Central Plains soon. The Divine Light Court hopes that she can go back to prepare. Oh. Du Xiaofu nodded with a calm expression. He was seriously injured and then left. Emperor Cheng walked him to the Golden Dragon Palace. Seeing Yu Wanli, the mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King and the others were slightly moved. After leaving the Imperial Palace, Du Xiaofu was about to go to Lord Xie's residence when he found that the North Vanquishing Prince and Xie Fei were already waiting outside. You don't even have a heart anymore. What happened to you? How did you end up like this? Chapter 769. On the wrinkled face of the North Vanquishing King, his heart ached for the purple-robed young man. He said seriously, I'll let you use my heart. I'm old and I've lived long enough. Let's not talk about the fact that it's impossible for other people's hearts to be suitable. How many people in this world can do such a thing? It's really hard to do. Yu Wanli said to the North Vanquishing King. He knew the problem behind this. Maybe other bodies could be reattached, but the heart was the most important part of the 5 organs. No, I have to think of a way. There must be a way. The North vanquishing king left. He had to find a way to save his cheap grandson. He couldn't let him die. Du Xiaofu was helpless. He couldn't stop the North vanquishing king, so he could only let him leave. All right, I'll go back to the ancient heaven sect to see my master tomorrow. Dusk, Courage God Manor. Du Xiaofu smiled and said to Dark Wolf and Phantom, "There's no need to leave anyone in the Courage God Manor. You guys can go to the Chaos Demon City." Dark Wolf and Phantom looked at Du Xiaofu, who was on the verge of death. Both of them looked extremely serious. Was the Courage God King really going to die this time? Night fell. Du Xiaofu was locked in the room by Ouyang Shuang and big sister Du Xiaoman. He couldn't move at all. However, the second Princess Qing Yan came to visit. She brought a lot of medicine and pills from the palace and said that she wanted to see the Courage God King alone. Du Xiaofu met with the second Princess Qing Yan alone. She had grown into a slender and elegant woman, and was no less beautiful than her elder sister. "Senior Du, how's your injury?" Qing Yan asked. Her eyes were filled with worry, but her expression was sincere. "It's quite serious." Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. His injury wasn't as simple as it seemed. "You have to recuperate well. I won't disturb you anymore. I'm here to apologize to Senior Du on behalf of the Qing family." Qing Yan looked at Du Xiaofu with some ripples in her eyes. After she finished speaking, she walked to the side of the door. Suddenly, she turned around and said, "Senior Du, if something happens in the future, don't blame my eldest sister. As a member of the royal family, sometimes she can't help herself. There are too many responsibilities on her shoulders. She is the most tired person in the Qing family. Also, at that time in the Imperial Hot Spring, I already knew that you were there." After saying that, Qing Yan's cheeks turned red and she left the room shyly. Du Xiaofu paused for a moment, then smiled bitterly. At night, Dragon City was still very lively and noisy. The North vanquishing prince, the East vanquishing prince, the South vanquishing prince, and many other nobles and major forces sent countless elixirs and pills overnight. The entire Dragon City knew that the brave God King was severely injured and was on the verge of death. Countless people came to the brave God King's manor to wait. Many old people sent various healing methods to the brave God King's manor, hoping that he could recover soon. Oh no, something big has happened. Late at night, Du Xiaoman ran into Du Xiaofu's room. She looked serious and said to Du Xiaofu, "The North vanquishing prince, the East vanquishing prince, and the South vanquishing prince have brought many marquises and generals to kneel outside the imperial palace. They want the imperial palace to use the imperial palace's dragon energy to heal you." After pausing for a moment, Du Xiaoman continued, "However, the imperial palace didn't allow it. They said that the imperial palace's dragon energy is the fortune of the entire empire and needs to suppress the entire empire. They are still in a stalemate. The three old kings are very influential, and more people are joining them. I heard that the Guam Manor, Ghost King Manor, and Gu Manor are already on their way. I'm afraid there will be a big change soon." Grandpa Xie and the others are kneeling outside the imperial palace. Du Xiaofu stood up. His blood was fluctuating and he was coughing. The North vanquishing prince, the South vanquishing prince, and the East vanquishing prince were already so old, but they were kneeling outside the imperial palace for him. This moved Du Xiaofu and he wanted to stop them. The imperial palace's dragon energy has been around for thousands of years. It is definitely a rare treasure. If you can absorb it, it will be beneficial to you. However, it won't solve the root of the problem. Zhen Qingchun said. The imperial palace's dragon energy had been around for thousands of years. It had gathered the fortune of an entire empire. Such a treasure was enough to tempt countless super experts. Third brother, Brother Qingchun said that the imperial palace's dragon energy is useful to you. Why don't you absorb it? With the North vanquishing prince, the South vanquishing prince, and the East vanquishing prince, perhaps the Qing family will be forced to agree. Du Xiaoman said to Du Xiaofu. The imperial palace will definitely not agree. The imperial palace's dragon energy is a precious treasure. The Qing family will never leave the Golden Dragon Palace because they are guarding the Imperial Palace's dragon energy. As long as the Imperial Palace's dragon energy is there, Even super experts who want to forcibly seize it will end up in a life and death struggle. Most likely, they will return empty-handed. Zhen Qingchun said to Du Xiaofu, once the imperial palace's dragon energy leaks out, the entire empire will lose its final barrier. It will indeed greatly damage the empire's fortune. They won't use the imperial palace's dragon energy until the empire is facing a true calamity. Sighing softly, Zhen Qingchun said to Du Xiaofu in a serious tone, if you were more important than the entire empire, perhaps they would have used the imperial palace's draconic aura. However, it seems that the Qing family doesn't think that you are more important than the entire empire. Moreover, your life is hanging by a thread. I suggest that we directly seize the imperial palace's draconic aura. A wry smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face. After pondering for a moment, he said to his eldest sister, Du Xiaoman, eldest sister, please inform my third senior brother. I have to rush back to the Ancient Heaven sect tonight. If you are going to the Ancient Heaven sect now, then what about the North Vanquishing Prince, the South Vanquishing Prince, and the East Vanquishing Prince? They are still kneeling outside the Imperial Palace. Du Xiaoman asked doubtfully. I can't go. If I go, Grandpa Xie, Old Prince Ouyang, and Old Prince Jiang will definitely not leave. In the future, their relationship with the Imperial Palace will become more and more serious. Only when I leave can this matter be resolved. Du Xiaofu said. He couldn't go to the Imperial Palace. He knew the North Vanquishing Prince's temper. Once all the princes arrived, the Qing family would be in trouble. The consequences could be imagined. Du Xiaofu didn't want to make things difficult for the North Vanquishing Prince. If he died immediately, who would be able to protect them in the future? No, this time, I must go to the Ancient Heaven sect. I have to take care of you. After a while, in the main hall, Ouyang Shuang's attitude was firm. She pleaded to Wan Li, Senior Brother Yu, can you take me to the Ancient Heaven sect? All right, let's go together. After all, it's just the few of you. I can still make this decision. Yu Wanli nodded. There were not many people going to the Ancient Heaven sect this time. Other than Du Yu and Du Shui, who he had been bringing along, there were also not many people including Du Xiaoman, Ouyang Shuang, and the mysterious Dragon King. Du Xiaofu couldn't persuade Ouyang Shuang. Seeing that his third senior brother had nodded, he had nothing to say. After that, Du Xiaofu asked the Solitary Sword King, Golden Condor King, Flame Carp King, and the others to wait in the Chaotic Demon City or the Stone City's Du family. Hence, Du Xiaofu and the others went to the Ancient Heaven sect that very night. The most ruthless imperial family. After knowing that Du Xiaofu had left that very night, the North Vanquishing Prince stood up and looked at the Imperial Palace. In the end, he flicked his sleeves and left. I heard that the brave God King was severely injured. His life is hanging by a thread. I heard that many kings and dukes knelt and begged the emperor to use the imperial qi to save the brave God King. In the end, they were rejected. The North Vanquishing Prince, the South Vanquishing Prince, and the East Vanquishing Prince are searching for a cure for the brave God King. The news of the brave God King being severely injured spread across the entire Stone Dragon Empire. In just a few days, almost the entire empire knew about it. Everyone was talking about the brave God King. During the previous national celebration, the brave God King's name was not mentioned. However, in private, the brave God King's reputation was extremely high. This time, when the news of the brave God King being severely injured and hanging by a thread spread, everyone was shocked and felt pity. Some people heard that the brave God King was about to die. This shocked everyone. Who would have thought that such a ferocious young king would be so severely injured? God, please protect the brave God King. We are sincerely begging you. We are willing to sacrifice our lives to prolong the brave God King's life. In the Enlightenment City, everyone prayed. They were grateful for the brave God King's kindness. Some old people cried and were willing to sacrifice their lives to prolong the brave God King's life. If the brave God King had not stopped the three empires, the Enlightenment City would have been razed to the ground. What? The Vice City Lord is severely injured and hanging by a thread? I heard that the Vice City Lord's life is hanging by a thread. The citizens of the Stone City also heard the news. They were all shocked and speechless. "We can't let the Vice City Lord go." The citizens of the Stone City were worried and regretful. They went to the Du family to ask about the situation. The entire city was grateful for the Vice City Lord's kindness. He had blessed the entire city and was reluctant to leave. The Vice City Lord is a young hero with great talent. He is a dragon among men. Could it be that the heavens are jealous of his talent? Everyone felt that it was a pity, and they all sighed. Countless recipes and elixirs were sent to the Du family, hoping that they could pass them to the Vice City Lord. "Yuan Li, I asked you to look after your junior brother, but you made such a huge mistake. I will settle the score with you later." A few days later, Elder Gu Qingyang's voice echoed in the ancient heaven sect. The news of Du Xiaofu's martial uncle being severely injured and hanging by a thread spread throughout the ancient heaven sect, causing countless discussions. Some people said that Du Xiaofu had encountered a super expert outside and suffered heavy injuries. His life was hanging by a thread. Some said that Du Xiaofu had explored a secret place and encountered danger. Now, his life was hanging by a thread. Chapter 770. As for the real reason, not many people knew. "Sigh, this is too serious, there's nothing we can do." One by one, the ancient heaven sect elders left the Heaven Eye Peak regretfully. They couldn't find a way. Elder Gu Qingyang scolded them for being useless and kicked them out. Inside the ancient heaven sect's main hall, Sima Taxing's glassy eyes turned serious. He then made a decision and ordered everyone, "Inform the supreme elders to come out of seclusion and help. We must use the entire sect's power to save Xiaofu. Send people to the Spirit Heaven Valley, the Immeasurable Sect, the Great Will Sect, the Sky Snake Sect, the Profound Underworld Sect, the Celestial Capital Sect, the Hui Sword Sect, and the Profound Talisman Sect. See if they have any methods." Many disciples nodded and left the ancient heaven sect. They were going to find a way to save Du Xiaofu. Could it be that the heavens are jealous of geniuses? Many supreme elders have said that if that brat can stay in the ancient sky sect, they will even promise him the position of the next sect master of the ancient sky sect. Sima Taxing Star's eyes were solemn and filled with regret. In his room on the Tianmu Peak, Du Xiaofu's body was covered in blood. His chest was cracked and blood was coming out of his mouth. Every time he moved, blood would come out of his mouth. They had been in the ancient heaven sect for a few days, and many elders had come to check on Du Xiaofu. Even the Grand Elder had come to check on Du Xiaofu, and he had taken a lot of spirit medicines. However, nothing had worked. Du Xiaofu peeked into his body. The heart formed by the mysterious leaf treasure had already started to wither. The energy of the vitality pill he had taken back then was also starting to fade. "I'm afraid I can't make it." Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. He had reached the end. Everything in his body was starting to wither. There was no more vitality. The problem was extremely serious. "You'll be fine. Your senior brother has already sent people to look for a solution. He will definitely find a solution for you." Gu Qingyang no longer had the appearance of a peerless expert. His eyes were filled with tears, and his face was filled with worry. His face, which had always been red, was now covered with a pale white color. "Don't think too much. There will definitely be a solution. This is the ancient heaven sect." Ouyang Shuang and Du Xiaoman said to Du Xiaofu. They were afraid that Du Xiaofu would give up, but they couldn't hide the worry in their eyes. "I'm satisfied." Du Xiaofu smiled. His senior brother, third senior brother, Big, Ouyang Shuang and senior brother. Senior brother who was trying to find a solution for him. This kind of warmth was also a great source of support for a dying person. "It's just that I have some regrets. I hope that little sister can be safe and sound." Du Xiaofu secretly wiped away some regret. These regrets were buried deep in his heart. There was no time to change them. What's there to be satisfied about? Don't say such discouraging words. You were lucky to have lost to you last time. I'm still waiting to get back at you in the future. You can't die like this. A crisp voice rang out. A girl walked into the room. The accessories on her wrist made a crisp sound. Under her long brocade dress, her figure was enchanting. She was cute and charming. This girl made Ouyang Shuang and Du Xiaomen look at each other in astonishment. She was the young miss of the ancient heaven sect, Sima Muhan. You've come out? Seeing Sima Muhan, Du Xiaofu was stunned. Then he smiled. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. They had come out from their seclusion after half a year. They could feel that Sima Muhan's aura seemed to have improved a lot. Don't talk. Let me heal you. Sima Muhan looked at Du Xiaofu, who was also dripping with blood as she spoke. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly as ripples appeared in her eyes. She said to Elder Gu Qingyang beside her, "Martial uncle, help me protect him. I'll heal him." All right. Gu Qingyang nodded and stood guard for the two. I'm already powerless. Don't waste your energy. In the room, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged and said to Sima Muhan with a bitter smile. Du Xiaofu was naturally the clearest about his situation. Don't waste your energy talking. I'm afraid it won't be easy to die in front of me. My father has told me about your situation. I'll help you replenish your vitality and buy you some time. Sima Muhan raised her pretty face. Her lively eyes were filled with a faint purple color. Her small mouth was slightly pouting. Her small cherry lips seemed to be smeared with honey. They were filled with a faint pink color, as if she wanted to attract people to kiss her. As his voice fell, Sima Muhan also sat down cross-legged. The silky black hair behind her head casually drifted around her slender waist. Her hand seals condensed, and a suppressive aura that was full of vitality spread out from her delicate body. At this moment, a vast and mighty aura spread out, drawing in the energy of heaven and earth. The mysterious runes on the talisman surged and an unparalleled pressure descended on the Heaven-Eye Peak, causing the wind and clouds to surge. Rumble. At this moment, the wind and clouds surged in the sky above the Heaven-Eye Peak, accompanied by the sound of wind and thunder. Little girl Muhan has the greenwood martial vein and the undying grass vein spirit. She can at least protect her master Xiaofu. She will definitely find a way. On the Heaven-Eye Peak, Elder Gu Qingyang's face was solemn. His clear eyes were filled with anticipation and hope. Walala, in the room, Sima Muhan's hand seals were still forming. The greenwood martial vein spirit covered it and the mysterious runes on the talisman flickered. She continued to draw in the artery spirit. As the mysterious runes on the talisman erupted, a huge grass-shaped object condensed in front of her. That was the undying grass vein spirit. Its entire body was crystal clear and the shape of the grass was like a mushroom. A terrifying pressure descended. When the undying grass vein spirit appeared, it enveloped Du Xiaofu, enveloping him and injecting life force into him. Sima Muhan sat cross-legged, revealing her charming and seductive figure wrapped in a long brocade dress. Her eyes were covered with runes and a terrifying pressure spread out from the grass-shaped vein spirit in front of her, wrapping around Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu felt that his body was being injected with life force once again, and there was a surging life force surging into his body. The upgrade enveloped Du Xiaofu's internal organs, tendons, bones, and muscles. His deathly pale face also became a little rosy. 3 days later, on the Tianmu Peak, the amazing movement calmed down. In the room, Sima Muhan's face was pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Du Xiaofu felt much better, and his body was much more comfortable. Looking at Sima Muhan's pale face, he said, "Thank you. Remember, I'm going to my grandmother to help you find a way. You can't die without my permission. Otherwise, even if you die, I won't let you go." Sima Muhan glared at Du Xiaofu fiercely and stuffed several elixirs into Du Xiaofu's mouth. Then Sima Muhan gently wiped the dried blood at the corner of Du Xiaofu's mouth. For some reason, her face suddenly flushed, and she hurriedly left the room. "Xiaofu, how are you feeling?" After a while, Gu Qingyang, Yu Wanli, Ouyang Shuang, and Du Xiaomen rushed in anxiously. Everyone became excited when they saw that Du Xiaofu's face had turned slightly rosy. It was as if they had seen some kind of hope. Mountain ranges overlapped each other, and huge cities stretched on endlessly. It was as if a black ancient dragon was winding its way across the horizon. On the peak of the Twilight Peak, Cheng Xingnan stood quietly. Under her orange clothes, her slender legs and slim waist formed an enchanting arc, Are you really dying, or has our fate come to an end? I think you have so many beauties by your side, you won't miss me. Qing Xingnan frowned, looking at the sunset and muttering, no matter what, I hope you can be safe. Maybe I'm tired and want a shoulder. We're not wrong, but we're not suitable for each other. Time passed slowly. On the Heaven Eye Peak, Du Xiaofu saw Qiao Yingmeng, Hao Bian, Shu Yang, Mo Wen Mujiajia, and the others who had come out of the secret plane. He also saw Gu Zong and the others. Du Xiaofu handed the ancient Heaven Sect's World Society and World Pavilion to everyone. However, he didn't see Gu Zhangyu. It was said that Gu Zhangyu had been in seclusion for a long time and had been wasting refining materials. During this period, Du Xiaofu also saw Yin Mochen come to visit. After chatting for a while, Yin Mochen was driven away by Yu Wanli. He couldn't disturb Du Xiaofu's rest. The disciples of the ancient Heaven Sect who had been sent out to find a way had sent back messages one after another, but they couldn't find a way to cure the heartless disease. The news made Sima Taxing and Elder Gu Qingyang extremely worried. Du Xiaofu's situation had become serious again. The vitality injected by Sima Muhan was dissipating faster than expected. Du Xiaofu felt that he really couldn't take it anymore. He was afraid that it would be more serious than last time. This time, he had a feeling that his body was collapsing. In the last moment, Du Xiaofu thought for a long time and decided to return to the Stone City. Even if he had to die, he would die in the Stone City. No, you must stay in the ancient Heaven Sect. Gu Qingyang objected. He absolutely couldn't rest assured. Now that his disciple's life was hanging by a thread, how could he leave the ancient Heaven Sect? Master, I know your intentions. There's no banquet in the world that doesn't end. Even if I die, it's my fate. Thank you, Master, for teaching me. In the last moment, I want to go back to the Stone City. Maybe my drunkard father will come back in the end. Du Xiaofu knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times, thanking his master for everything he had done for him. You child. Elder Gu Qingyang's eyes were red as he secretly wiped his tears. He didn't say anything more and said, then you go back first. I'll wait for news in the Manchu. Once there's a way to cure you, I'll immediately go to the Stone City to find you. Thus, Du Xiaofu returned to the Stone City and set off the next day. The disciples of the ancient Heaven Sect spontaneously lined up to see him off. In the hearts of all the disciples, the purple-robed youth was a legend in the Manchu. Unfortunately, the heavens were jealous of such a genius and were sad to see him go. Tomorrow, little you will have a small explosion. If the flowers can reach 350 by noon tomorrow, little you will work hard to write a few more chapters. Tomorrow's plot will also take a turn for the better. Once again, I want to thank all the brothers and sisters for their support. Chapter 771. Boss, nothing will happen to you. Hao Guan was reluctant to part with Su Mo and his eyes were filled with tears. Xiaofu, this is the Manchu's treasure, vitality powder. Consume it quickly. Before leaving, Sima Taxing passed a jade bottle to Du Xiaofu. The vitality powder was the ancient Heaven Sect's treasure. It was rumored that it could even save 4 people. Its value was immeasurable. It was rumored that there were people who were willing to exchange a few saint artifacts for the vitality powder, but the ancient Heaven Sect didn't agree. This showed how precious and valuable the vitality powder was. However, Du Xiaofu had lost his heart. Even if the dead could be revived, how could a heartless person live? Thank you, Senior Brother Sect Master. Du Xiaofu kept the vitality powder and looked at the ancient Heaven Sect's gate with trembling eyes. Other than the Du Clan and Tianwu Academy, this was the 3rd place where he felt a sense of belonging. Thus, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but feel a little reluctant to leave. However, Du Xiaofu still left on the mysterious Jiao King's body. Yu Wanli accompanied him, but Du Yu and Du Shui were left in the ancient Heaven Sect to cultivate. Du Xiaofu told them to work hard and protect the Du family in the future. Brother Xiaofu, looking at Du Xiaofu's departure, Du Yu and Du Shui's eyes were filled with tears. Dark Forest, Tianwu Academy's ruins. Du Xiaofu stopped in front of the huge tombstone to pay his respects. Vice Principal Zhuge, Grand Elder, and the heroic spirits of the academy, I didn't rebuild the academy well. I hope that the general, Ghost Child, and the others can come back one day and rebuild Tianwu Academy. Du Xiaofu paid his respects. After a long time, he left under the urging of Ouyang Shuang and Du Xiaomen. After reaching the dark forest, Du Xiaofu didn't go to the chaotic demon city. Instead, he returned to the stone city. Du Xiaofu was afraid that he didn't have much time left and didn't have much time to waste. Du Xiaofu had already taken the vitality powder, but the effect would not last for long. Du Xiaofu's condition was getting worse. Vice City Lord. In Stone City, Du Xiaofu returned. The entire city was welcoming him, but it was quiet without any noise. Vice City Lord, you will definitely be fine. Definitely. Heaven will protect the Vice City Lord. Wherever he passed by, there were many trembling and comforting voices from the residents. There were old people who were grateful to the Vice City Lord for everything he had done for Stone City, and they trembled with tears in their eyes. Du Xiaofu slowly walked through the Stone City, wanting to feel the Stone City again. Behind Du Xiaofu, the major clans, the mysterious Flood Dragon King, Yuanli, Ouyang Shuang, and the others kept silent as they accompanied Du Xiaofu. The entire Stone City was silent and solemn. Every day, the aunts and elders of the Du family would try out various recipes that they had collected, hoping for a miracle. However, it was useless. Du Xiaofu's condition was getting worse, and he was on the verge of death. North Vanquishing Prince, South Vanquishing Prince, East Vanquishing Prince has arrived. Marquis Chiyu has arrived to visit Courage God King. Stone Dragon Empire's 3rd Army Commander, Marquis Baiyu has arrived to visit Courage God King. In Stone City, there were people who came to visit Du Xiaofu. Gradually, they gathered in Stone City. Du Xiaofu only saw North Vanquishing Prince, South Vanquishing Prince, East Vanquishing Prince, Xie Fei, and the others. He could not meet them one by one, so he thanked them and asked them to leave. After that, Du Yunlong, the silver-winged demonic condor, Li Shui, Murong Yorua, and the others arrived in Stone City. The Medicine King also came out of seclusion and arrived in Stone City. Congratulations, Medicine King, for breaking through to a 7-star talisman master. In the room, Du Xiaofu saw the Medicine King and was overjoyed. From now on, the Medicine King was the Medicine Emperor. He had broken through to a 7-star talisman master. You promised me that you would give me 10 empires. Now you have none. You can't go back on your words. The Medicine King looked at Du Xiaofu with a complicated expression. I owe you 10 empires. After 18 years, I'll return you 20. Du Xiaofu smiled. He could not give the Medicine King another 10 empires. It's my fault. I'm called the Medicine King, but I can't save you. The Medicine King blamed himself. He was powerless to the extreme and was deeply frustrated. Old Medicine, I'll leave the World Alliance to you. Du Xiaofu said to Medicine King Yi Wuming seriously. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I'll definitely think of a way. Yi Wuming said seriously. In the morning, Stone City was gently shrouded by a thin mist. It was like a shy girl wearing a white veil. As the sun rose, the white birds in the mountain forest chirped happily and chased after each other. It feels good to be alive. Du Xiaofu stretched. His face was rosy. It seemed like he had miraculously gotten better in the past 2 days. Is this the final radiance of the setting sun? Ouyang Shuang, Du Xiaoman, and the others had tears in their eyes. The Medicine King, Yuanli, and the others were silent. Everyone knew that Du Xiaofu had reached the end of his life. This was the final radiance of the setting sun. After I die, I'll be buried there. Du Xiaofu pointed at a barren mountain to the side of the Du family's gate. That barren mountain was barren all year round. Birds did not fly, and snakes, insects, rats, and ants did not come near. It was like a land of death. Even now, the people of the Du family thought that the place was ominous and avoided it. Originally, the Du family's gate was near the barren mountain. But because of the ominous place, the Du family moved the gate to the front more than 10 years ago. As for Du Xiaofu, he would naturally not forget that place. Because that was the origin of the mysterious move. The mysterious move came from a stone tablet on the barren mountain. But now, the stone tablet had turned into rubble. But that barren land was still like a land of death. Not a single blade of grass grew. It was dry and covered with sand and stones. Xiaofu, that place is said to be ominous. Do you want to change to another place? Du Junwu asked. Although he could not accept this fact, he still hoped that Du Xiaofu could change to another place. That place was a land of death. The stone tablet on the barren mountain used to be 3 zhang tall. But now it had collapsed. It was very ominous. Uncle, let's go there. I've made up my mind. Du Xiaofu smiled. He had started there, and now he would end there. It could be said that there was a beginning and an end. Okay. Du Junwu did not say anything else and nodded in agreement. In the following time, everyone followed Du Xiaofu closely. They were afraid that Du Xiaofu would collapse at any time. They were afraid that no one would be by his side in the end. So it's so good to be alive. Under the sunset, Du Xiaofu sighed. The sunset was incomparably beautiful. It was just that dusk was approaching. Only when one was about to die would they know the beauty of living. Only when one loses something would they know the value of having it. This was Du Xiaofu's sigh. Unfortunately, he did not have much time left. Du Xiaofu's heart was filled with sorrow. Looking at the faces of the people around him, he was really reluctant to leave. I don't want to die. After sighing, Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with determination. These days, he had not been idle. He had tried all the methods he knew with his big brother, Zhen Qingchun. He had even tried the saint physique art left behind by his master, revered weapon. But the result was the same. The heart was missing. Zhen Qingchun was helpless. The medicine king Yi Wuming was also helpless. Even a change of heart was difficult to achieve. According to Zhen Qingchun and the medicine sovereign, if they could win the heart of Du Xiaofu's twin sister, they might have a chance. But this was obviously contradictory. The former's heart was given to her by Du Xiaofu. I'm unwilling. Although he could feel the warmth from all sides when he left, Du Xiaofu was still unwilling in his heart. He still had too many things to do. Unfortunately, he had no more time. He didn't even have the strength to move or struggle. This feeling was too uncomfortable. How did you end up like this? If Xingyu comes back and asks about you, what should I say? Murong Yurua's eyes were moist. Xingyu should have grown up. Du Xiaofu thought of the little girl's appearance in his mind. The corner of his mouth curved into a smile. But looking at the smile on Du Xiaofu's face, the surrounding people's noses were sour. They couldn't smile and were full of solemnity. At night, in the room, Du Xiaofu's originally rosy face was completely pale. His eyes had also lost their color. Du Xiaofu's chest began to bleed again. His vitality was withering. He was about to reach the end of his life. Xiaofu. Third young master. Looking at Du Xiaofu, many people's eyes were moist. You have to be good in the future. Listen to Aunt Shan and Uncle Ling. After Du Xiaofu said to Ouyang Shuang, he immediately said to Murong Yorua, thank you for believing in me and being willing to stay in the world society. If you leave, I can't be good. Who can I find to quarrel with in the future? Ouyang Shuang choked with sobs as tears fell from her beautiful eyes. Murong Yura didn't say anything, but her eyes were moist. Don't cry. You will become ugly. Du Xiaofu raised his hand and gently wiped away the tears beside Ouyang Shuang's beautiful eyes. Don't die, okay? At worst, I will marry you and your... How about that? Ouyang Shuang looked at Du Xiaofu with her beautiful eyes and said, at worst, there is still Sister Xiefei. We will marry you together as long as you don't die. Hearing this, Murong Yorua and Xiefei immediately blushed, but they didn't refuse. Then, their eyes focused on Du Xiaofu. The next chapter of the new volume will be coming soon. I just want to say, brothers, your flowers haven't been so awesome for several months. When I saw them this morning, I almost peed my pants. Just a little more and I will be able to explode another divine chrysanthemum. Do you want to explode directly? I'm smiling evilly. Chapter 772. Du Xiaofu was stunned and almost choked. He smiled bitterly and looked at Ouyang Shuang. Don't even think about it. Don't get me into trouble. You bastard, what did you say? Ouyang Shuang started scolding. She didn't care about her image anymore. Xiaofu, what's wrong? Don't scare me. Yangshuang's expression changed. Before she could finish scolding, she saw Du Xiaofu's body go limp and his eyes close. She immediately went forward and hugged Du Xiaofu. No, Xiaofu, don't close your eyes. Don't leave. Third young master. Everyone in the room rushed forward and cried out. Outside the room, everyone also rushed in. They were all trembling and their faces were pale. Their eyes were filled with tears. Get out of the way, get out of the way. A loud shout came from Du Xiaofu's chest. Then, under many shocked gazes, the small tower appeared in Du Xiaofu's chest. Zhen Qingquan's primordial spirit was exposed to everyone for the first time. Many people were shocked. Yuanli, the North Vanquishing King, the South Vanquishing King, the Mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, and the others were no exception. Zhen Qingquan's figure appeared. He stood beside Yangshuang and carefully checked Du Xiaofu. Brother Qingchun, how is Xiaofu? Du Xiaoman asked. His life force has been used up. He can't sustain it anymore. He's gone. Zhen Qingchun stood up. On his illusory figure, his eyes were moist and filled with the radiance of runes. He shook his head slightly and then raised his head. His voice was filled with coldness as he said, That clan, just you wait. I don't care who you are. In this life, I will never let you off. Hearing this, everyone in the room staggered and trembled. Some of them even fell to the ground. Xiaofu. Third brother. Du Zhenwu, Du Zhixiong, Du Yunlong, and Du Xiaoman all had tears in their eyes. Xiaofu, my child, why are you leaving? The Du family's elders and aunts were in pain. Tears blurred their eyes, and their hearts felt as if they were being stabbed by knives. Are you really going to leave just like that? Do you really have the heart to leave everyone? Wake up. Yangshuang hugged Du Xiaofu and leaned against the ground. Her delicate body trembled and her large eyes were already blurred by tears. President. Hall Master. Inside the Du family, the members of the World Society and the Heavenly Beast Hall, who had come along, knelt on one knee as they respectfully sent the Hall Master off. Vice City Lord. A moment later, the entire Stone City wailed. There were women and children crying in indescribable grief. There were old people who shed tears, and there were young people who were sad. Cries, sorrowful cries, shouts, all sorts of sounds intertwined together, converging and weaving into an indescribably sorrowful lament. For the entire night, the Du family and the entire Stone City were drowned in boundless grief. Many ants cried until they fainted, but in the end, they didn't leave Du Xiaofu behind. He had already exhausted his life force and left peacefully. The next day, when the sun rose, a new grave appeared on the barren mountain beside the Du family's gate. On the tombstone was the World Alliance's Alliance Master, Du Xiaofu. The tombstone was facing the direction of the moon. That was what Du Xiaofu had requested when he was alive, because that was the direction his drunkard father used to look at every night. Vice City Lord. Everyone in the Stone City came to pay their respects. All of them had hot tears in their eyes, and some couldn't stop crying. If Third Brother could obtain the Dragon Chi from the Stone Dragon Empire's Imperial Palace, he might be able to hold on for a while longer until Miss Muhan finds a way to return. Unfortunately, Du Xiaoman cried bitterly. His body was weak from the grief. The Stone Dragon Empire has gone too far. I can't tolerate it. Du Yunlong stepped forward and stood in front of Du Xiaofu's grave. He looked at the Medicine King Yi Wuming, the Eagle King Gong Dao, the Mu family's Fort Master Mu Mingqing, the Thousand Cloud Pavilion's Pavilion Master Wan Sanpang, the Silver-Winged Demonic Condor, the Ba Ao, the Mysterious Dragon King, the Golden Condor King, the Flame Carp King, and the Extinction Sword King. He said, Everyone, as the Vice President of the World Alliance, I propose that from now on, the Dark Forest will have nothing to do with the Stone Dragon Empire. Support the establishment of the country. Let's establish the country. Hearing that, everyone was silent for a moment. Then, Mu Mingqing, Wan Sanpang, the Silver-Winged Demonic Condor, Hua Fan Kong, and the Golden Condor King all raised their hands to signal that they wanted to establish the country. If you want to establish the country, then so be it. He will be the first emperor of the country. At that moment, an old and gentle voice quietly sounded from the sky. At the same time the aged voice was heard, a light that resembled a bright moon descended from the sky without a sound. That dazzling ball of light was like a bright moon floating in the sky. The dazzling light illuminated the entire stone city. Peak of the martial royal realm. Yu Wanli, Medicine King Yi Wuming, North Vanquishing Prince, South Vanquishing Prince, East Vanquishing Prince, Wan Sanpang, Mu Mingqing, and the others who had arrived earlier looked at the sky. As the aura spread out, they could feel how terrifying it was. It's Grandma Silverflower. Grandma Silverflower is here. Yi Wuming, Mu Mingqing, and Wan Sanpang recognized that it was Grandma Silverflower, the expert who guarded the dark forest. She also agreed to establish the country in the dark forest. Heaven is jealous of the talents. The moon-like light floated in the air, and an old figure could be vaguely seen within the moon-like light. After muttering to himself for a while, he left. The light around him disappeared, and everything returned to normal. On behalf of Stone City, I am willing to support the establishment of the country. From now on, Stone City and the Stone Dragon Empire will have nothing to do with each other. Yi Baolin stepped forward. He represented Stone City and wanted the Du family to establish the country. Establish the country. Establish the country. Establish the country. The voices of establishing the country resounded in the surroundings and the sound waves shot up to the sky. Yi Lao, say something. Du Yunlong asked the Medicine King Yi Wuming. With the relationship between the Medicine King Yi Wuming and his third brother, as well as his current strength and status in the Dark Forest, Du Yunlong hoped to obtain the support of the Medicine King Yi Wuming. The Medicine King Yi Wuming's expression changed slightly. He looked at the North Vanquishing King, the South Vanquishing King, and the East Vanquishing King. They were the old kings of the Stone Dragon Empire. We came here to visit Xiaofu. Although we are the kings of the Stone Dragon Empire, we are also Xiaofu's relatives. You don't have to worry about us. When the time comes, the Cheng family won't be able to find trouble with us. North Vanquishing Prince said. His face, which was already old, seemed to have aged another 20 years in this short period of time. Let's establish the country in Stone City of the Dark Forest. The Medicine King Yi Wuming pondered for a while and nodded to Du Yunlong. Stone City of the Dark Forest is located in the depths of the Savage Beast Mountain Range. Today, we establish a country called the Barren Country. The capital is Stone City and the auxiliary capital is Chaos Demon City. The founding emperor is Du Xiaofu. My third brother has comprehended the golden-winged rock's beast energy and is called the Founding Rock Emperor. Du Yunlong's voice swept across the sky and resounded through the clouds. He held the battle blade in his hand and carved the words Barren Country Founding Rock Emperor on the tombstone. Barren Country, Rock Emperor. Rock Emperor. Waves of cheers resounded in the surroundings. Stone City was in an uproar. It wasn't easy for this child. He lost his mother when he was young and carried the name of a fool. He left Stone City alone and went to Tianwu Academy. He went to Dragon City of the Stone Dragon Empire and went through countless dangers along the way. Later, he became the brave god king of the Stone Dragon Empire and the leader of the World Alliance. He left Zhongzhou and joined the Ancient Heaven sect. He was only 18 years old, but he was already able to fight against a martial emperor. He was truly a genius. An old man sighed and cried at the scene. He was extremely sad. What? The brave god king really died? Stone City, Dark Forest founding country? The brave god king is the founding rock emperor. The news of Du Xiaofu's death spread throughout the Stone Dragon Empire. Many people were shocked and mourned for the barren country. Marquis Jiming is here to pay his respects. Marquis Qiyu is here to pay his respects. Many marquises heard the news and came to pay their respects. The second princess of the Stone Dragon Empire is here. The second princess of the Stone Dragon Empire, Cheng Yan, came and paid her respects to Du Xiaofu personally. Her eyes were filled with sadness. It was obvious that she was very sincere. However, Cheng Yan didn't stay for long. After apologizing and comforting the Du family, she left Stone City. Cheng Yen could feel that the second princess of the Stone Dragon Empire wasn't very popular in Stone City. She didn't want to affect everyone and had to leave first. Rumble. Suddenly, a terrifying aura swept across the sky above Stone City. A huge object appeared in the sky and its aura made the entire Stone City tremble. The North Protector King, the South Protector King, the mysterious Dragon King and the others were also frightened. It was a huge treasure ship. The mysterious runes on the ship flickered and it could travel in the sky. It was extremely fast and its aura was terrifying. It was like a huge ferocious beast had arrived in Stone City. It's the Earth Talisman treasure ship. Why are they here too? Yuanli looked up at the sky, his pale and lifeless face carrying some doubt. Swoosh swoosh. Everyone raised their heads and looked. Many figures appeared on the giant ship. Waves of extremely powerful auras spread out, but in the end, only two figures directly leaped down. It was a man and a woman who jumped down. They were both very young. The man's figure was tall and straight. He wore a blue and purple robe and had an extraordinary aura. The woman's figure was slender and she wore a long dress. She was in her 20s. She was delicate and her eyes were bright. Following her appearance, the surrounding space began to tremble slightly. An aura that caused one's heart to tremble began to spread out. The young man and the woman stared at the tombstone. Looking at the name on the tombstone, the woman's body trembled and tears welled up in her bright eyes. Why are you like this? I should have come to find you earlier. Then, I would have seen you one last time. Chapter 773. The lady's eyebrows were curved and her face was as white as jade. She was extremely beautiful. She walked to the tombstone with trembling hands. The beautiful woman's bright and spirited eyes were overflowing with tears, streaking across the slight dimples on her cheeks. Brother Xiaofu, it's all my fault. I should have brought you back by force last time. Maybe you wouldn't be in this situation. The young man was also crying and blaming himself. He clenched his fists. Looking at the lady and the young man, no one knew who they were. However, it was not difficult for everyone to guess that the origins of these two young people were definitely not simple. They could not be ordinary people. After a while, the woman wiped the tears from her eyes. She looked at the people of the Du clan, Yuanli, Ouyang Shuang, Murong Yorua, North Vanquishing Prince, Mysterious Dragon King, and others on both sides of the tombstone. She bowed and nodded. She asked softly, "May I ask who injured him?" "We don't know." He refused to say anything. Murong Yorua replied to the lady, "If you know in the future, please tell me." "Thank you," the lady said to the crowd. Her eyes were wet again. "May I know who you are? Where are you from? What's your relationship with my third brother?" Du Xiaoman asked. She was confused. "My name is Zhu Shui. I'm Xiaofu's friend." The lady said softly to Du Xiaoman. "We're friends of Brother Xiaofu. We're disciples of the Profound Talisman sect." The man in the blue and purple robe said. As soon as he finished speaking, he followed the lady onto the treasure ship and left. They're from the Profound Talisman sect. Even their disciples came personally. The people present were surprised. The Profound Talisman sect was a huge force. It was not inferior to the Great Luin sect and the Ancient Heaven sect. It was a terrifying force that stood above the central continent. Now, the disciples of the Profound Talisman sect came to the funeral. It was enough to show that Du Xiaofu had a good relationship with the disciples of the Profound Talisman sect. The lightning racing king of the central continent's Dai family arrives. The soul-breaking king of the He family arrives. The bright sun empire's king arrives. The night star king of the daybreak sect arrives. It didn't take long for more experts to arrive. They were all kings of the central continent and had graduated from Tianwu Academy. This time, the North Vanquishing Prince, the South Vanquishing Prince, the East Vanquishing Prince, and the others were all trying to find the prescription. They had also been notified, and now they had come in person. Tuliang Empire's Duke Xiaoming has arrived. An expert shrouded in multicolored light descended. He was one of the top experts in Turing Empire and his name had shaken the empire for close to 100 years. He was also a student of Tianwu Academy. "Child, I've heard of your plight. We elders are powerless to save you, and we are powerless to rebuild Tianwu Academy as well. We were still waiting for you to rebuild Tianwu Academy, so how can you leave on your own? Xiaoming King arrived with a sorrowful expression. His heart was filled with grief. Then he stood together with South Vanquishing King, East Vanquishing King, and the others. So many experts. The residents of Stone City were both shocked and sorrowful. So many experts had come to Stone City to mourn. They were all experts who had been famous for decades or even 100 years. They were all kings of their own countries or lords of their own regions. Their names had spread far and wide. Even if the emperor of a country had passed away, there would not be such a lineup. So, without a sound, two figures suddenly landed on the new grave on the barren mountain without making a sound. However, as soon as these two figures appeared, the space around them seemed to have frozen. They were an old man and a young man, a man and a woman. The old man looked to be in his 70s. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and he had a slender figure. He wore a greenish-white robe and carried an ancient sword on his back. A few strands of white hair and a white beard fluttered in the wind. He exuded an otherworldly aura, as though an immortal had descended upon the mortal world. The woman looked to be in her late teens, and her appearance was captivating. "Master, your disciple is useless. Junior brother has left." Upon seeing the old man, Yuanli immediately knelt down. His eyes were red, and he blamed himself deeply. "Du Xiaofu, you bastard! How could you not wait for me? I told you, you are not allowed to die." The woman shouted. She stomped her feet on her shoes, which were embroidered with patterns and sewn with soft fox fur. Her delicate body immediately landed on top of the grave. On her jade-like wrists, two bracelets sparkled with white light as they collided with each other, emitting a pleasant sound. "I won't allow you to die. Come back to life. I brought back the undying grass so you will have a chance to live. How could you not wait for me to come back? I haven't defeated you yet, and I haven't taken my revenge. You are not allowed to die." The woman shouted. She formed a seal with her hands, and a slender leaf appeared in her hand. The mysterious runes on the leaf flickered and erupted, transforming into an illusory grass-shaped object. The illusory grass-shaped object was sparkling and translucent. The shape of the grass was like a mushroom, and it carried a terrifying pressure as it descended upon Stone City. Boom! With the appearance of this object, all eyes in Stone City trembled. Even the meridian souls of many kings were trembling in fear. "I don't want you to die. Don't." Sima Muhan waved her hand, and the leaf directly swept into the grave along with the mysterious runes. This part of the world trembled. Then, there was a billowing vitality in the space that surrounded the grave. The undying grass. Did she just say the undying grass? That is an absolute treasure. Shocked exclamations erupted from all around. However, the final result did not give them any hope. The undying grass entered the new grave, bringing vitality with it. However, after a short while, the vitality was unable to be absorbed and began to slowly dissipate. Sima Muhan continued for 3 days. Her face was pale, and blood seeped out of her pink lips. However, there was still no movement on the new grave. He has already left. A heartless person has no vitality left. Even if there is a heavenly treasure, it will be useless. Yi Wuming was in pain. During this period of time, he seemed to have aged 10 years, just like North Vanquishing Prince. One by one, the experts who came to Stone City began to leave. No one was willing to believe that the fierce young man had already left. However, in their hearts, they all knew that he was gone. There was nothing they could do to change the situation. The heavens were jealous of heroes. Such a fierce young man had died young. The heavens were unfair. For 5 whole days, Elder Gu Qingyang stood silently on the tombstone of the new grave. He did not move or shake. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back and did not say a word. "Xiaofu, your master is useless. I can't save you." 5 days later, Elder Gu Qingyang's eyes were filled with tears. He cried like a child. Elder Gu Qingyang cried so hard that his immortal temperament was completely gone. In particular, His two front teeth protruded out of his mouth like rabbit's teeth. As he cried, he spat out saliva from time to time. It was difficult for people to hold back their laughter. However, everyone was able to sense the grief that Elder Gu Qingyang was feeling right now. It was a pain that penetrated his heart. On the 6th day, Elder Gu Qingyang, Sima Muhan and Yuanli also left for the Ancient Heaven sect. Most of the experts who came from all directions had also left. Time passed slowly. The Dark Forest and Stone City had established a country called the Barren Country. Du Xiaofu was the founding Rock Emperor. This news had spread throughout the Stone Dragon Empire. Stone Dragon Empire, Imperial Palace, Golden Dragon Palace. The Barren Country, the founding Rock Emperor, they are dissatisfied. Sigh. A voice came from the Golden Dragon Palace. The dragon chi in the palace fluctuated. Profound Talisman Sect, Ancient Heaven Sect, Grandma Silverflower and the kings of the Central Continent. If he didn't die, how terrifying would it be? Fortunately, the mountain ranges overlapped, and the huge cities stretched on endlessly. It was as if a black ancient dragon was winding its way across the land. The sun was setting in the west, and the setting sun was as red as blood. At the peak of the mountain, a woman dressed in an orange-red outfit stood quietly. Her figure was tall and slender, and her appearance was moving. Some things can only be buried deep in the heart. This is also good. It can let me completely calm down. This is the will of the heavens. We are not fated to be together. The woman frowned as she stared at the setting sun. Tears welled up in her eyes as she wiped away the tears on her cheeks. She murmured, "As long as I have the chance, I will avenge you." As soon as she finished speaking, the woman tapped her feet lightly. Her graceful figure drew a beautiful arc in the air and then disappeared from the peak. The fall of the brave King Du Xiaofu and the founding of the Barren Country had caused a lot of commotion and discussions. However, such discussions would always have a quiet time. Du Xiaofu had left for half a month. There were still people waiting for a miracle to happen. However, a miracle never happened. Silly child, did he really leave just like that? Outside the Du family, many elders and aunts looked at the barren mountain on the left side of the Du family. Back then, there was a silly young master who often stood in front of the stone tablet on the barren mountain. He would stand there for 3 days and 3 nights, or even longer. They hoped that they could suddenly see that silly child appear again. But now, there was a new grave and they were separated by life and death. It wasn't easy for our Du clan to produce a peerless genius. How can you die so young? Child, you gave us a miracle back then. Give us another miracle. Some elders were tearing up, hoping for another miracle. Another day, the sun set in the west, gradually bringing the curtain of night. Stars were scattered all over the sky like stars on a chessboard. Bits of hazy light poured down, and the stars were bright and the moon was dim. Chi. In the dead of the night, on the left side of the Du family's tomb, under the swaying tombstone, a beautiful figure silently appeared, like a ghost. It was a girl of about 17 or 18 years old. 2 strands of black hair by her cheeks were gently blown by the wind, adding to her allure. Wrapped in a light green dress, her slim waist was outlined in a graceful arc. Even if other beautiful girls were to stand in front of her, they would be overshadowed. This girl was like a real fairy who had descended to the mortal world, untainted by the mortal world. The girl looked at the bright starry sky. Her eyebrows were curved and her face was otherworldly. Her eyes shone brightly. Then, looking at the tombstone, the girl murmured, "This can't be. This guy won't die so easily." Xiao Yu, continue to write. The next time will be around 7 in the evening. Today, Pig Trotter will make a comeback. Brothers, let's do it. Xiao Yu continues to write. Chapter 774. Walala. As the hand seal was formed, a glow spread out from the girl's body. Then, the glow enveloped the grave. Her light green dress danced in the wind, accentuating her tall and slender figure. She was like a green lotus flower, pure and untainted by dust. Yet she was still young and seductive. The aura of the grass of immortality, muscle revitalization powder, vitality pill, and another treasure. It shouldn't be any weaker than the grass of immortality. What did this guy eat? Luckily, he was able to protect the last bit of life force in his body. The girl muttered softly as she inspected the grave. Her cherry lips were red. Suddenly, the girl seemed to have felt something. The glow in her body retracted as if it had been electrocuted. Her expression changed. Martial Vein Spiritual Seal. There is indeed a Martial Vein Spiritual Seal. He won't die so easily. After her shocking words, the girl turned around and looked at the night sky. She said, "Stop hiding. I knew you were here. Come out." As the girl's voice fell, the air in the night sky fluctuated. A smoke-like fluctuation spread out from the void. Finally, it condensed into a transparent figure of a young man. This transparent figure looked like he was in his 20s. His figure was illusory and his body was very skinny. He was extremely skinny. It was as if he was just skin and bones. The young man's cheeks were chubby. His eyebrows were inverted and his eyes were triangular. He even had a wretched gaze. To a stranger, the only word that could describe and interpret this transparent young man's silhouette was extremely wretched. Primordial spirit body. Or you look so wretched. The girl looked at the illusory youth and said impolitely. His wretched temperament made her curious. She couldn't help but size him up. "I am that kid's elder brother. My name is Zhen Qingchun." Zhen Qingchuan's illusory figure appeared. He looked at the girl with a puzzled smile and said, "You seem to have an extraordinary background. Are you here to save my brother?" It was just that it would have been better if Zhen Qingchun didn't smile. Once he smiled, his wretched face was simply uglier than crying. Looking at Zhen Qingchuan's smile, the young girl was also stunned. She involuntarily took 2 steps back, as if she had seen a bad uncle. Frowning slightly, the young girl raised her eyes to look at Zhen Qingchun and suspiciously said, "Zhen Qingchun, you're the one who's not pure. You look so wretched. Although that fellow doesn't look any better, he's much better looking than you. Although you look young, the aura on your body isn't young either. How can you be his big brother?" "I'm his sworn brother." "Who exactly are you? How do you know that he has a Martial Vein Spirit Seal in his body?" Zhen Qingchun looked at the young girl helplessly and added, "Actually, after I recover, I'll look pretty good too." "Me?" The young girl pouted and her eyes shone like stars. She looked at the full moon in the sky and said to Zhen Qingchun, "My name is Ying Ying. Everyone calls me Sage Nun. You can call me Sage Nun too." Sage Nun. Zhen Qingchun frowned and felt that he was taken advantage of. He couldn't help but roll his eyes at the young girl and asked tentatively, "Then what's your surname?" "I can have any surname, any surname. You can call me Ren Ying Ying too." The young girl who called herself Ying Ying said. She seemed to know a lot of things and said to Zhen Qingchun, "I just checked. The Martial Vein Spirit Seal in his body has taken effect. He has lost his heart. This is very troublesome. Even if he has a strange Martial Vein Spirit Seal in his body, it can only protect his vitality. It will be very difficult for him to recover completely." "Who exactly are you?" Zhen Qingchun was puzzled. He knew that the young girl in front of him had a great background, but he didn't know who she was. "I just said that my name is Sage Nun. If you don't want to, you can call me Ren Ying Ying." The young girl smiled and then looked at Zhen Qingchun and said seriously, "I'll do my best and leave the rest to fate. I want to help this guy. You protect me and don't let anyone near. I also don't want anyone to know about my existence. Is that okay?" Zhen Qingchun looked at the young girl in front of him and sized her up for a while. He nodded and said, "I promise that no one will disturb you. I'll leave my brother to you. The Martial Vein Spirit Seal in his body is very unstable. You have to be careful." Ren Ying Ying nodded and said, "Okay, I know." Not long after Zhen Qingchun left, the surrounding barren mountains suddenly trembled, causing the entire stone city to tremble violently. A huge talisman array enveloped the barren mountains. People of Stone City don't need to be nervous. The Rock Emperor has fallen. We will keep vigil for the Rock Emperor for 100 days. In the dark night, a voice sounded and calmed the shock of the people in Stone City. "Rock Emperor, rest in peace." In the dark night, Many people's hearts were once again filled with sorrow. Keep vigil. The mysterious Dragon King, Golden Condor King, Extinction Sword King, Flame Carp King, and Stone Turtle King leaped out and appeared around the barren mountains to keep vigil for the Rock Emperor. The talisman array covered everything, and no one could see what was happening inside. In front of the tombstone, the young girl Ren Yingying raised her head slightly, gazing at the night sky and the resplendent starry sky. She muttered, "Smelly old man, you won't blame me for wanting to save this fellow, right? This fellow has no elegance, is rude and barbaric, and is even foolish in that clan. However, I feel that he shouldn't have died in the end." As she finished speaking, the young girl's slender fingers gently stroked her lips. Her cheeks were red, and her dimples were faintly discernible on her cheeks, adding to her cuteness. She muttered softly, "Moreover, this guy took advantage of me. I have to have a chance to get back at him, right?" As she finished speaking, the aura around Ren Yingying's body began to change. Her dress fluttered, and mysterious talisman lights began to spread out from her slender and graceful body. They carried an otherworldly holiness that caused ripples in people's hearts. "I'll do my best and leave the rest to fate," Yingying muttered softly. On her delicate face, her eyes were bright. Her pupils began to emit a mysterious splendor that was as dazzling as the starry sky. Whoosh! As the light surged, Ren Yingying raised her wrist. Her hand seals condensed and changed. Talisman runes surged out, and a vast aura soared into the sky with her head held high. Boom! At this moment, the surrounding space trembled. Waves of mystical aura shot out from Yingying's body, connecting with heaven and earth as it swept across the sky. Waves of mysterious light runes surged and enveloped the barren mountains, as if they were drawing in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. At this moment, the entire stone city was trembling. In the dazzling light, Ren Yingying stood in front of the tombstone. Her body was surrounded by light that was like stars revolving and fluctuating. The otherworldly, holy radiance fluctuated like a goddess. Her dress fluttered, and she was noble and proud. "With my blood essence, activate the power of the stars," Ren Yingying shouted. Talisman runes surged out from her eyes. Suddenly, she spat out a mouthful of blood essence into her palm. The bright red essence blood was like the stars in the night sky emitting light. It was wrapped in mysterious runes and was finally condensed by his hand seal. It carried a vast aura that covered the sky and spread out. It turned into a starlight arrow that shot into the 9 heavens. Rumble! At this moment, the sky above the stone city was filled with thunderous rumbles. Thunder suddenly resounded in the night sky. Then, the stars in the sky rotated as if they were about to fall from the sky. The vast aura fluctuation seemed to be about to crush the entire stone city. In a short period of time, vast stars appeared in the sky and were within reach of the mountaintop. That kind of shock stunned everyone and made them stop breathing. What's going on? It's the movement from the Rock Emperor's tomb. Could it be that the Rock Emperor is about to come back from the dead? The entire stone city was shocked. Everyone rushed out with faces full of shock. That terrifying fluctuation came from the Rock Emperor's tomb. "Oh my God, are those the stars in the sky falling?" Shocked voices were incessant. Some people saw stars falling from the sky. Countless stars appeared in the sky above the Rock Emperor's tomb. Ren Yingying's hand seals were still condensing. Her delicate body fluctuated. Talisman runes lingered on the surface of her body outside her dress. It was like the stars in the sky were twinkling. It was vast and boundless. At this moment, Ren Yingying and the stars that appeared in the sky were pulling each other. It was as if there was an invisible connection between them. It was indescribably mysterious. 7 stars heart-condensing seal. Ren Yingying shouted. Accompanied by an extremely vast and ancient aura, a terrifying aura suddenly spread out from her body like a storm. Whoosh! Talisman runes bloomed in the sky from Ren Yingying's delicate body. It was as if countless stars were rotating in the sky. The surrounding energy storm was monstrous and spread out like raging waves. The terrifying aura swept across the sky. Everyone in the stone city was watching from afar. Their celestial chi froze and their souls trembled. They felt as if they were about to be crushed. They were unable to resist at all. I can't resist it. I want to crawl on the ground. I can't resist it. I don't dare to look straight at it. What a powerful pressure. I want to crawl. Within the stone city, astonished voices were incessant. The entire city was crawling on the ground. The terrifying pressure of the stars was something that no one could resist. The mysterious Dragon King, Golden Condor King, Solitary Sword King, Chan Yuxiu, and the others had no choice but to crawl. Even they were unable to resist it. Rumble. There were 7 consecutive thunder-like energy fluctuations. 7 huge stars floated in the sky. They were faintly connected and were exceptionally dazzling. Chapter 775. In the end, the 7 stars turned into 7 rays of dazzling morning light that shrouded the barren mountain. The dazzling morning light shone on the barren mountain, making it look like a miracle. After doing all this, Ren Yingying spat out 7 mouthfuls of blood. They shot into the tomb like blood arrows. At this moment, Ren Yingying's moving face suddenly turned as pale as ash. As Ren Yingying spat out 7 mouthfuls of blood into the tomb, the starry light entered the tomb continuously. The entire barren mountain shook violently and released a wave of vitality. She retracted her hand seal and took a few steps back. Her face was pale and blood was dripping from the corner of her mouth. Her breathing was weak and she immediately stuffed many pills into her mouth. So you came from a legend. I think I know some of your background. I didn't expect some of the rumors in this world to be true. Zhen Qingchuan's primordial spirit appeared silently. He looked at the girl who called herself Ren Yingying with shock in his eyes. He naturally didn't believe that this girl called Ren Yingying away. However, since she didn't want to say, he didn't need to ask. As the dazzling starlight gathered around him, Zhen Qingchun recalled some legends of this world. Those legends actually existed. Even though Zhen Qingchun didn't doubt them, he was still shocked when he saw them with his own eyes. Ren Yingying smiled. She looked at Zhen Qingchun and said, "What I can do, I've already done my best. I hope it will be useful to him. The key is still up to him. Everything I've done, I hope it will give him an opportunity. I hope the legends of my clan are true. Fortunately, he has many treasures in his body, especially the leaves of the grass of immortality. His martial vein spirit seal is also protecting his last chance of survival. You used your blood to guide him. This has a huge impact on you. What's your relationship with him? Why are you helping him?" Zhen Qingchun was puzzled, but when he looked at Yingying, his inverted triangular eyes were filled with gratitude. "I'm just a little silly." Ren Yingying smiled, then turned back to look at the name on the tombstone and said softly, "But I'm not as stupid as this guy. To be willing to dig out his heart to save his twin sister, whom he has never met before. He can die without regrets. He's really stupid. So, I'll be stupid for once. I hope it won't bring trouble to my family in the future. No matter who you are, I thank you on his behalf." Zhen Qingchun bowed respectfully to Ren Yingying, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Don't disturb me. I still need to rest. During this period of time, I will stay here. Don't let anyone come near and disturb me." Ren Yingying looked at Zhen Qingchun. Her eyebrows on her pale face relaxed slightly. She said to Zhen Qingchun, "Actually, after looking at you for a long time, you don't seem so wretched anymore." "I'm not wretched to begin with." Zhen Qingchun helplessly rolled his eyes at Ren Yingying. Then his illusory figure disappeared from the barren mountain. His voice slowly sounded, "Don't worry and recover. No one will come and disturb you." Ren Yingying looked at the tombstone. A smile appeared on her pale face. She was still as otherworldly as before. She muttered, "If you're really alive, I'm afraid many people will find it interesting. I'm really afraid that I'll get into trouble because of you. However, I'm afraid that clan will be in even bigger trouble. Also, we'll settle the matter of you taking advantage of me in the future. This time, you owe me again. You have to pay me back in the future." "Pucci." After muttering those words, Ren Yingying coughed. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth again. Ren Yingying sat down cross-legged and formed a seal. Under the moonlight, her delicate body seemed to be able to absorb the power of the stars. She began to adjust her breathing. Countless stars appeared in the sky above the stone city. It was as if countless stars were falling from the Milky Way. The light was dazzling as if it was daytime. However, far away from the stone city, it was dark. It was as if the stars in the sky had all gathered above the stone city. All of this was extremely mysterious and strange. It caused the stone city to be filled with discussions and exclaim that it was a miracle. In the barren mountain, in a new tomb. In the dark tomb, there was a wooden coffin. This was a 1,000-year-old willow. It was said to be the best material for coffins. It would not rot for 1,000 years. Even the corpses of mortals in the wooden coffin would not rot for 100 years. It was vivid and lifelike. Buzz, around the wooden coffin in the darkness, it was unknown when, but lightning had begun to flicker. The lightning overflowed from the wooden coffin. It flickered faintly, but no one could see it. Suddenly, in the darkness, 7 blood arrows fell. They were wrapped in starlight and connected with each other. Then they fell into the coffin. In the coffin, there was a purple-robed youth lying quietly. Mysterious light bloomed on the surface of his body. The mysterious light jumped out from the purple-robed youth's body. It was tightly connected to his meridians and blood vessels. The mysterious light intertwined and condensed. It was accompanied by a terrifying wave of power. It was like a net of light that covered the youth's body. It was extremely mysterious. The youth in the coffin was naturally Du Xiaofu. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body seemed to be lifeless. However, in the hollow area of his chest, where his heart was, there was a piece of breastbone that had started to emit a dazzling golden light. Dense golden blood seeped out from the broken bone. It directly flowed into Du Xiaofu's blood vessels, meridians, skin, flesh, and muscles. It was also connected to all the bones in his body. It was as if it was trying to awaken the last bit of life in Du Xiaofu's body. Walala, there was an extremely strange purple flame that rose from Du Xiaofu's chest along with the golden light. Although the purple flame seemed to be incompatible with the golden light, it was miraculously able to increase the life force in Du Xiaofu's body. The purple flame became denser and denser. It gradually surged into Du Xiaofu's empty chest. Within Du Xiaofu's empty chest, there was a trace of fluorescent light. It was 2 leaves. One was the leaf of the grass of immortality. The other was the leaf that Elder Ming had given to Du Xiaofu. The light on the 2 leaves was dim. They were pale yellow with a hint of green. It was as if they would completely wither at any moment. The purple flame surged out mysteriously from Du Xiaofu's body. It landed in Du Xiaofu's empty chest and poured onto the grass of immortality and the other mysterious leaf. The rolling purple flame was originally an extremely hot object. It was as if it could burn everything. However, at this moment, the purple flame wrapped around the 2 leaves of the grass of immortality. It was as if it could give them a new life force. Under the blazing destruction, it contained a life force that could nourish the grass of immortality and the other mysterious treasure leaf. Suddenly, 7 rays of blood essence wrapped in the light of dawn seeped out of the wooden coffin. They began to spiral and intertwine. Finally, drop by drop, they dripped from the coffin lid onto Du Xiaofu's chest. The blood essence fell along with the light of dawn and dripped into Du Xiaofu's chest from the crack in his chest. Drops of blood essence fell into Du Xiaofu's chest along with the light of dawn. Immediately, star-like radiance spread out from his chest. Chi-chi. The blood essence and dawn also landed on the purple flame, causing it to fluctuate. It was as if it had caused a chain reaction. In an instant, the heat and fluctuations became even more intense. Walala! The purple flame fluctuated along with the golden light and dawn light, covering Du Xiaofu's bones, muscles, 5 viscera, and 6 bowels. It flowed through his blood vessels and meridians, nourishing his bones. Especially the blood essence and dawn light, which contained an ancient aura, as vast as the starry sky, spread out from Du Xiaofu's body. It attracted countless rays of dawn light from the coffin lid and flowed into Du Xiaofu's limbs and bones. At this moment, the mysterious martial vein spirit seal in Du Xiaofu's body, under the influence and stimulation of the vast starry sky, became brighter and brighter. It was as if it had been given life. Something in his body began to awaken at an accelerated rate. There was a will that wanted to awaken. This awakening was accelerating. Under the guidance and stimulation of the dawn light and blood essence, it began to accelerate. It was like a volcano that was about to erupt. In Du Xiaofu's chest, the blood essence and dawn light fluctuated. It gathered the golden blood, the purple flame, and the mysterious lightning in his body. Everything began to condense. After an unknown period of time, it actually faintly formed the shape of a heart in his chest. This heart was nourished from Du Xiaofu's body. It was completely natural, accompanied by the golden light, dawn light, lightning, purple flames, and talisman runes. Early in the morning, even though the sun rose from the east, the sky above the stone city was still rather dim. In the sky above the stone city, it was as if the sky was covered by a curtain. There were stars that flickered without falling, enveloping the stone city and illuminating the barren mountain in front of the Du family's gate. 7 of the stars were shining brightly, and the rays of dawn light shone down, covering the barren mountain. Do you guys feel it? It seems like our martial veins have started to improve, and the profound qi is also full. The spirit altar is clear, and cultivation can advance 1,000 miles in a day. There are many unexpected benefits. In the stone city, everyone was shocked. Some people discovered that under this strange change, everyone's cultivation had unexpected benefits, as if they could advance 1,000 miles in a day. Chapter 776. Many people who were stuck in bottlenecks started to show signs of breaking through. It was unbelievable. Is that the Rock Emperor's spirit? This is a miracle. The elders exclaimed when they saw the strange changes in the stone city. They had never seen such a strange scene before. In an instant, the phenomenon continued. At night, the stars gathered in the stone city and the river of stars shone brightly. During the day, the stars in the stone city did not scatter. They stayed in the sky above the stone city. Half a month later, dark clouds gathered in the sky above the stone city, regardless of whether it was day or night. Strange lightning flashed in the dark clouds, causing people's hearts to tremble. Under the lightning, everyone from the Du family felt their hearts tremble. It was as if their blood was boiling and their minds were trembling. Suddenly, the people of the Du family prostrated themselves on the ground. It was as if something in their bodies was awakening and was about to come out. Roar! In the vast savage beast mountain range beside the stone city, the roars of beasts could be heard continuously. Regardless of whether it was day or night, the roars became more and more intense. Roar? The roars came from the depths of the savage beast mountain range, causing the entire stone city to tremble. The shocking roars of the beasts were like a flash flood, causing people to tremble in fear. Why are the beasts in the savage beast mountain range becoming more and more abnormal? A large number of beasts have gathered outside the stone city. I wonder what is happening in the savage beast mountain range. Those beasts are so strange. They have gathered into a beast tide, but they are not attacking. It is as if they are waiting for something. Many people in the stone city were surprised. A large number of beasts gathered outside the stone city, causing the ground to tremble and the forest to shake. The smell of blood permeated the air. However, the strange thing was that the beast tide did not attack. It was as if they were waiting for something. It was very strange. A large number of beasts gathered outside the stone city. No one would disturb them. The beast tide would not enter the stone city either. For the time being, everything was peaceful. There was still a talisman formation around the barren mountain. No one could see what was inside the talisman formation. It's sprouting, it's actually sprouting. The barren mountain was originally a land of death. Not a single blade of grass grew on it. Snakes, insects, rats, and ants did not dare approach it. However, at some point in time, life began to spread out from the pile of rubble. Dense weeds began to appear. Zhen Qingchun was astonished. His expression changed as he saw something green appear on Du Xiaofu's grave. There were energy fluctuations on the grave mound. Sparks of lightning flickered and there seemed to be a purple flame radiance rippling, causing the surrounding space to become extremely hot. That's not an ordinary item. It's the leaf of the grass of immortality, as well as another mysterious treasure. His body also has the aura of that treasure, as well as the aura of his martial veins and spiritual seals. Ren Yingying examined everything on Du Xiaofu's grave and found that there was a sprout of the undead grass and another kind of plant on the grave. There was also electricity flowing out. That was the aura of Du Xiaofu's martial vein spirit mark. This purple flame is very strange. It has life, as if it's undergoing nirvana. Ren Yingying frowned. The aura of the purple flame caught her off guard. She then looked into the grave. I can't see through it anymore. His martial vein spirit mark is awakening, blocking my view. The girl was shocked. That guy's martial vein spirit mark was actually able to block her view. If I'm not wrong, that purple flame is from the purple flame demonic phoenix. Zhen Qingchuan's eyes trembled. The purple flame demonic phoenix was a terrifying existence. It was the top existence in the Phoenix clan. It was said that the purple flame demonic phoenix was only slightly weaker than the golden winged peng. If it could undergo nirvana, it would eventually become the top existence in the world. Endless life. Could it be that this guy is related to the purple flame demonic phoenix clan? He seems to be undergoing nirvana. It's said that the purple flame demonic phoenix can undergo nirvana and be reborn from the ashes. Yingying seemed to have discovered something again. Her beautiful face was filled with shock. Ren Yingying frowned slightly. She then looked up at the stormy sky and the lightning aura that flashed from time to time. She muttered softly, not only is he undergoing nirvana rebirth, but more importantly he is awakening and recovering. Not only is he undergoing nirvana, but he is also awakening and recovering. This awakening and recovery has nothing to do with that race. I feel that he is not below me. You mean he has a chance to be reborn? Zhen Qingchun was very excited. He had already sensed that there was life in this barren mountain. Everything was related to the guy in the grave. I can feel that he's already being reborn. Yingying nodded and murmured, even without my help, I don't think he'll really die. There's the nirvana aura of the purple flame demonic phoenix in his body. His martial vein spirit mark is awakening. It's just a matter of time. I'm just adding fuel to the fire. He won't die so easily. Ha! Zhen Qingchun laughed. His laughter was very loud, and his laughter echoed in the air. On the barren mountain, life was getting more and more intense. The grass of immortality and the mysterious plant had already crawled out of the grave. They densely covered the grave and were flowing with life. The grass of immortality and the mysterious plant could even absorb the light of the stars. Runes spread all over their bodies and emitted dense light. In the sky, the lightning aura was getting more and more terrifying. Boom! At this moment, the clouds were surging. The sky above the stone city was covered by dark clouds. The roar of thunder could be heard from time to time. Under the lightning aura, the blood of the Du clan was boiling. It seemed like something in their bodies was about to be stimulated. In the sky covered by dark clouds, there were still stars hanging low in the sky. They were still releasing dazzling light on the barren mountain. The light was continuously absorbed by the grave. I finally remember. Suddenly, in front of the grave, the girl who had been puzzled and pondering suddenly stood up. She seemed to have discovered the most shocking news. Her eyes emitted a holy light. She looked at the overflowing lightning from the grave and said, Yang thunder, in thunder, in thunder, in and yang cardinal, only destruction can lead to rebirth. What did you remember? Zhen Qingchun curiously asked the girl. In this terrifying aura, he also felt destruction. However, in that destruction, there was also life. I don't know what kind of martial vein spiritual seal he has, but I can be sure that it has something to do with lightning. The girl was shocked. She looked at the grass of immortality and the mysterious plant covering the grave. She also looked at the purple flames and the golden light spreading out. She said, lightning is destruction, but also rebirth. His martial vein spiritual seal is related to lightning. If he doesn't experience destruction, how can he be reborn? He is awakening rebirth, nirvana. Destruction is rebirth. Without destruction, how can he be reborn? Zhen Qingchun seemed to have comprehended something as he muttered to himself. I think we should leave this place. Once he awakens, it will be a rebirth for him, but for us, it will be destruction. The girl reminded Zhen Qingchun. Looking at the many complicated auras on the barren mountain, Ling Hui's eyes were filled with anticipation. In the haze, Du Xiaofu seemed to be in a strange dreamland, and in that strange dream he saw an inconceivable scene. It was a terrifying lightning lake. Lightning was everywhere, and the aura was destructive. It was enough to destroy everything in the world. Within the lightning lake, there was destruction. Once one got close, they would be turned into ashes and turned into nothingness. After a long time, Du Xiaofu's spiritual soul trembled. He felt a purple flame appear in the lightning lake. Then, golden light spread out. Finally, a terrifying grass appeared in the lightning lake. That terrifying grass was destroyed in the lightning lake. However, the last trace of its true spirit was not destroyed. Finally, a vast galaxy appeared. The morning light of the galaxy shone, and it could resist the destruction of the lightning lake. Therefore, the terrifying grass started to recover from the destruction. It could even absorb the destructive energy in the lightning lake to nourish itself. Destruction is rebirth. It's destruction, but it's also rebirth. I seem to have understood something. Du Xiaofu's spiritual soul felt something. Then, a vast galaxy appeared above the lightning lake. Dazzling stars fell and jumped, forming a firmament. Above the firmament, in the haze, a fairy-like figure appeared. Her figure was exquisite, and she was pure and untainted. It was as though a real fairy had descended to the mortal world, untainted by the mortal world. Rar. Du Xiaofu felt as if he had transformed into a terrifying golden-winged rock that could traverse the starry river. Sometimes, he would flap his wings and soar into the 9 heavens, destroying one star after another. Sometimes, he would circle above the starry river, stepping on a star and skyrocketing upward, causing the starry river to tremble. Within the wooden coffin, Du Xiaofu's body was not only wrapped in a mystical light net, but also a blazing purple flame. Within the purple flame, there was a black gas that leaked out. It seemed to be burned by the mystical light net. Finally, it turned into smoke and dissipated. That was the remaining murderous aura in Du Xiaofu's body. It was left behind by Du Xiaofu when he used the purple gold heavenly palace. If not for the murderous aura in his body, Du Xiaofu would be able to hide for a long time. If the murderous aura was not extinguished, it would be difficult for Du Xiaofu to be reborn. The next continuous release will be around midnight. Xiaoyu will continue to write and update. I will continue to ask for fresh flowers and recommendation tickets to thank my brothers and sisters. Chapter 777. Kaka. Suddenly, a strange sound came from Du Xiaofu's body. Then, a bright light shot out from his chest. The light became brighter and brighter. Then, in the wooden coffin, one of Du Xiaofu's Qiankuan bags was forcefully opened. An oval-shaped egg the size of a toddler's egg appeared in the wooden coffin. It emitted a strong fragrance that made people drool. This was the dragon saliva that Du Xiaofu had obtained in the middle region's long river. He had always kept it in a separate Qiankuan bag. Du Xiaofu didn't have time to give this item to the Du family because of his sudden death. Du Xiaogang also didn't have time to give the ancient barren space and the purple gold heavenly palace to others. These 2 items were very special. They couldn't be given to others directly. When the dragon's saliva appeared, it emitted a divine glow. It was rumored that the dragon's saliva was left behind by the true dragon. It was a treasure among treasures. It could allow normal beasts to transform into true dragons. It was also rumored that the dragon's saliva could allow martial artists to transform from inside out. It could also allow talisman masters to strengthen their souls and transform their bodies. The dragon's saliva was a treasure to all living beings. At this moment, the dragon's saliva had somehow broken out of the Qiankuan bag and appeared in the wooden coffin. However, as soon as this lump of dragon saliva appeared, it was immediately enveloped by surging purple flames. It was also enveloped by golden light. It was enveloped by starlight and lightning. Whoosh! The light around the dragon's saliva fluctuated, and the divine splendor rippled. Then, the dragon's saliva gradually dissipated, like water seeping into a piece of paper, disappearing. Then, a dense mist spread out, accompanied by auspicious and peaceful light, appeared. It turned out that the dragon's saliva wasn't all dragon saliva. The dragon's saliva had an egg in it. This egg was surrounded by bright talisman patterns. It was enveloped by purple flames, lightning, and starlight. This egg seemed to be able to absorb the purple flames, lightning, and starlight into the eggshell. This special egg was also absorbing the golden blood in Du Xiaofu's body. Even Ren Yingying's blood essence, which was surrounded by starlight, was being absorbed into its body. This special egg didn't absorb all kinds of energy quickly. However, it was endless. It emitted a dazzling divine glow. Du Xiaofu lay quietly in the wooden coffin. Purple flames were burning in his chest where his heart was. The blood essence surrounded by starlight was flowing. Surrounded by lightning energy, it was reborn from the destruction. The golden blood essence from the broken bone in his chest was still spreading. A new heart was reborn from the destruction. Under the tempering of the lightning, the purple flames, the radiance of the star blood essence, the golden blood essence, and even the grass of immortality and the mysterious leaf that had been injected with vitality were all fused into the new heart. This new heart was wrapped in mysterious talismans and runes and contained the most powerful, profound meanings. Once someone saw this marvelous scene, it would be enough to shock the entire world. It was a heart that had never existed before. Under many lucky coincidences, it was born in Du Xiaofu's body. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body was also absorbing the dazzling starlight. Purple flames were burning on his body. His body was covered in lightning, which projected the mysterious symbols of the gold rock wings talisman. Du Xiaofu's physical body was no longer weak, and his pale face had already regained its rosy color. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's body was emitting terrifying energy. His vitality was rolling like a volcano that could erupt in any minute. No doubt, Du Xiaofu wasn't just recovering. He was also transforming. He was undergoing a transformation that he had never experienced before. Once this transformation was completed, it would shock the entire world. Du Xiaofu was recovering. His body was recovering, and his vitality was recovering. Everything was transforming. Different kinds of terrifying energy were nourishing his body. Nirvana, rebirth, forging, nourishment. Everything was going on in Du Xiaofu's body. Previously, to prolong his life and protect his vitality, Du Xiaofu had consumed countless elixirs and treasures. In fact, to Du Xiaofu's vitality, those elixirs and treasures didn't play the main role of protecting his vitality. Most of the energy was stored in his body. At this moment, those elixirs and treasures were completely activated in Du Xiaofu's body. Those were all valuable elixirs. At this moment, they were completely dispersed in Du Xiaofu's body. It was unimaginable how terrifying the energy was. Du Xiaofu felt as though he was a real golden-winged rock in the lightning lock. In the thunder lock, in the vast galaxy, Du Xiaofu felt that his home was going through destruction and rebirth. He had a new understanding of everything. Understanding everything. Experiencing destruction and rebirth. Above the wooden coffin, purple flames were rolling, stars were flashing, and lightning was flashing. But strangely, the grass of immortality and the mysterious leaf were still flourishing. Vitality was erupting, crawling out of the grave and spreading in all directions. Walala, on the barren mountain, purple flames were spreading from the ground and the void. As the purple flames appeared, even the talisman array set by Zhen Qingchun was burned. Within the rolling purple flames, purple lightning was flashing, making it impossible for people to see through. In the entire stone city, there were only 2 people who could peek inside. Even Yao Huang and Dr. Wuming couldn't do it. Rumble! In the sky above the stone city, the terrifying drought thunder became louder. On the streets and walls of the stone city, purple flames appeared. These purple flames were very strange. They were full of vitality and didn't carry any destruction. They made people feel warm. This is a vision of heaven and earth, a vision of heaven and earth. In the Stone City, some people held the purple flames in their hands and found that they could help their cultivation in a special way. Some people sat in the purple flames and cultivated. They could travel 1,000 miles in a day and comprehend the heaven and earth. This is the demon phoenix's nirvana. Is he undergoing nirvana, or is there a special power in his body related to the purple flame demon phoenix undergoing nirvana? On a mountain behind the Du family, Ren Yingying looked at the barren mountain with confusion in her eyes. No matter what, it should have something to do with him. Zhen Qingxuan's illusory figure was nervously looking at all the movements on the barren mountain. Ren Yingying raised her head slightly and looked at the thunderclouds in the sky. Suddenly, her delicate body trembled slightly and she bit her tender red lips. Her eyes were filled with anticipation as she said, "He's finally awakening. After destruction, there is rebirth. It seems like that clan has directly granted him his wish. I'm afraid that clan would never have thought of this." Bang! In the instant that Ren Yingying's voice trailed off, a violent boom erupted from the barren mountain, following which surging purplish-golden lightning and purple flames erupted forth. Boom! Du Xiaofu's grave was lifted. Dense leaves of the undying grass and the mysterious treasure leaf rushed out. The wooden coffin was lifted. Du Xiaofu's body appeared. He was surrounded by lightning and purple flames surged out of his body. Du Xiaofu's chest rippled strongly. His heart was beating like a drum. It was very powerful. His vitality spread across the land and shot into the sky. Looking from afar, the entire barren mountain outside the Du family was already wrapped in purple flames. It had been burning for at least 2 months. Even the entire Stone City was wrapped in purple flames and accompanied by lightning. Boom! Above the Stone City, an aura that made one's soul tremble suddenly rippled and spread. It was still spreading into the distance. The thunderclouds above the Stone City rippled like waves under everyone's astonished gazes. Boom! The entire sky shook inexplicably. An aura that made one's heart palpitate silently spread, making all living things fearful, crackle. All of a sudden, purple lightning flashed out from the thunderclouds. It was extremely strange and terrifying, and there was a faint rumble of thunder. There were also strange and dazzling lightning runes that spread out and fluctuated. Ah! At this moment in the Du family, all the bloodline of the Du family screamed. The blood in their bodies was boiling. Their organs, muscles, and bones seemed to be awakening and about to burst out. Bang! Bang! At this moment, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Du Zhixiong, Du Zhenwu, Du Hao, and the elders of the Du family and all the bloodline of the Du family were shocked and trembling. At this moment, strange lightning spread out from their bodies. The more talented a Du family disciple was, the stronger the lightning on their body. All the Du family disciples were unable to resist the terrifying pressure that came from the depths of their bloodline and soul. The rumble of thunder resounded, and the entire Stone City trembled. At the same time, waves of extremely shocking lightning energy fluctuations seemed to have transformed into countless spirit snakes that shuttled through the void. The pressure of the lightning made one's hair stand on end and feel a chill in their hearts. Rumble! The terrifying lightning finally rushed out. From afar, it directly blasted into the barren mountain that was covered in rolling purple flames, and the aura was destructive. Crackle! The power of the lightning that filled the sky was so terrifying that the entire Stone City trembled violently. The lightning wreaked havoc as if countless bombs had exploded. The destructive power soared into the sky. Bang! 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 In the sky above the Stone City, the wind whistled and dark clouds gathered. The low rumble of thunder resounded in this world. Crackle! At this moment, the Du family was wrapped in lightning. The terrifying lightning in the sky directly fell on the Du family members. Chapter 778. Ah! As the lightning struck, the disciples of the Du family cried out in pain as their bodies were filled with lightning. But as the lightning entered their bodies, a terrifying aura began to awaken within the bodies of the Du family members. The aura was ancient and domineering, bringing with it destruction. It was terrifying. Rumble. The heavens and earth trembled as the lightning raged. It was as if countless bombs were exploding, causing everyone's eardrums to hurt and their minds to become dizzy. There was a destructive energy spreading, and the entire stone city was on the verge of collapsing. The earth was shaking and the mountains were shaking. Roar. Outside the stone city, beasts roared and howled. What's going on? All of this seems to be related to the place where the Rock Emperor was buried. It's related to the Dew family. I heard that the place where the Rock Emperor was buried is an ominous place. Could this be a punishment from the heavens? Everyone in the stone city was shocked. No one knew what was going on in this terrifying scene. It was like destruction, causing their hair to stand on end. Could it be that he has changed? Medicine King Yi Wuming, Mysterious Dragon King, Golden Condor King, Solitary Sword King, Chanyu Xiu, Silver Winged Demonic Condor, and the others looked at the rolling purple flames on the barren mountain. Under the destructive aura of the lightning, even they were frightened and wanted to crawl into the rolling purple flames. Only the two people in the back mountain of the Dew family could see everything. At this moment, the lightning that filled the sky struck Du Xiaofu's body and connected with the martial vein spiritual mark in Du Xiaofu's body. The destructive energy that landed on Du Xiaofu's body turned into vitality, causing the martial vein spiritual mark to become even more dazzling. The martial vein spiritual mark was absorbing the lightning energy between the heavens and earth, causing the terrifying aura in his body to awaken. In the back mountain of the Dew family, Ren Yingying's bright eyes were fixed on the barren mountain. Ren Yingying could feel that there was a majestic and desolate aura in Du Xiaofu's body. That aura was not to be provoked and was about to erupt. Soon, he's about to awaken. Ren Yingying muttered softly, her delicate hands clenched into fists. At this moment, she seemed to be even more nervous than Zhen Qingchun. Under the surging purple flames, the mysterious net of light on the surface of Du Xiaofu's body became brighter and brighter. It was so bright that it was dazzling, as if it had been bestowed with life. Something was beginning to awaken at an accelerated rate. There was a will that wanted to awaken the world immediately. He's about to awaken. Once he truly awakens, he will become incomparably powerful. This time, misfortune and fortune are interdependent. In the end, he made it through. Zhen Qingchuan's illusory primordial spirit body followed his heart and his emotions fluctuated intensely. He was looking forward to Du Xiaofu's resurrection and awakening the martial vein spirit mark. Zhen Qingchun had long since sensed that once the martial vein spirit mark in Du Xiaofu's body awakened, then not to mention mortal kings, even mortal emperors would have to stand aside. Qi Lala, thunder and lightning constantly fell on the barren mountain, connecting with the purple flames on the barren mountain. The dazzling light was brilliant, like a miracle. Du Xiaofu's body continued to grow stronger. It was so strong that the egg on his body had unknowingly rolled to the side. Du Xiaofu's body was wrapped in golden light, dazzling the morning sun as the surging purple flames rose. Qi Lala. Finally, the mysterious martial vein spirit mark on Du Xiaofu's body was dazzling to the extreme. The blazing lightning radiance was like a rising sun, and finally, it exploded with a bang. The net of light of the martial vein spirit mark turned into countless dazzling lightning runes and surged into Du Xiaofu's bones, muscles, blood vessels, cells, and organs. Qi. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's eyes, which had been tightly shut for a long time, suddenly opened. Blazing lightning burst out from Du Xiaofu's eyes and rushed into the thunderclouds in the sky. It seemed to materialize and connect with the lightning. Boom boom. At this moment, the space trembled violently. The terrifying thunder might filled the sky as countless lightning bolts pierced through the space. The silver snake shuttled through the sky, causing the space to explode and overturn. An endless stream of lightning fell on Du Xiaofu's body. The pressure spread out, and everything was annihilated in an instant. Just looking at the thunder might that spread out made the hairs on one's body stand on end, and the living beings in the surroundings almost prostrated themselves on the ground. At this moment, the surging lightning fell on Du Xiaofu's body and turned into terrifying energy, causing Du Xiaofu's aura to rise continuously. Du Xiaofu's body greedily absorbed the terrifying energy contained in the surging lightning, entering his body through his pores. Hua la la. Under the nourishment of the thunder might, the surging purple flames, starlight and golden light in Du Xiaofu's body suddenly seemed to have a mysterious light jumping out. It was a seal that had been hidden to the extreme. That strange seal sealed another terrifying power in Du Xiaofu's body, causing it to remain dormant and dormant. However, at this moment, the mysterious energy in Du Xiaofu's body was beginning to be affected and was about to awaken. However, that frightening seal continued to suppress it. Hualala, lightning rumbled, purple flames burned, and starlight shone. The domineering golden energy swept out and constantly destroyed the seal. Finally, by coincidence, with the help of the energy of the world, the mysterious seal was completely destroyed. Boom! At this moment, the other terrifying energy in Du Xiaofu's body finally erupted. The aura that spread out was like that of a sovereign. It was definitely not inferior to the golden-winged roc or the purple-flame demonic phoenix. It was not even inferior to the starlight and lightning energy by much. Oh my god, this is… In the back mountain of the Du family, Zhen Qingchuan's illusory face suddenly changed. He said in shock, "The spiritual root seal has been destroyed. His spiritual root is also awakening." Zhen Qingchun was absolutely shocked at this moment. He was undoubtedly the clearest about the mysterious seal in Du Xiaofu's body. It was a terrifying seal that sealed Du Xiaofu's spiritual root. When Zhen Qingchun first discovered the hidden seal in Du Xiaofu's body, he had carefully examined it. If he had recovered to his peak state, he would have had a 50% chance of helping him break the seal. However, at this moment, the seal was directly destroyed by various terrifying energies by coincidence. The spiritual root's power was finally unrestrained at the same time. What this meant, Zhen Qingchun was naturally the clearest. Rise. Du Xiaofu's aura continued to rise under the nourishment of the thunder might. Countless figures in the stone city prostrated themselves. On the barren mountain, within the rolling purple flames, there was a terrifying aura that was rising. At this moment, among the Du family members, many of the Du family disciples were under the baptism of the thunder might. Their auras were also rising, releasing an ancient and domineering aura. The thunder might descended on the stone city, and a dazzling silver snake soared into the sky. The people in this area felt as if their scalps were about to explode. Their minds and souls trembled violently, and a destructive aura whizzed out. Screech. Suddenly, there was a screech in the air. A golden talisman inscription soared into the sky, and the energy of heaven and earth in this area began to fluctuate violently. Then, on the barren mountain, an illusory figure of the golden-winged roc formed by the talisman inscription suddenly appeared. The golden-winged roc hovered in the void, letting out a screech. It flapped its wings and attracted the lightning in the sky. It seemed to be soaring into the sky in a sea of lightning. Roar. At this moment, outside the stone city, tens of thousands of beasts roared and prostrated themselves on the ground. This kind of might is unstoppable. In front of the Du family, the silver-winged demonic condor, mysterious dragon king, flame carp king, ice python king, stone turtle king, and the others were unable to withstand the terrifying might. After transforming into their original forms, they prostrated themselves outside the Du family. A martial king realm Nirvana realm golden-winged roc. It must be him who has revived. This is a miracle. He won't leave so easily. Medicine King Yi Wuming, Peerless Sword King, Chan Yuxiu, and the others were trembling with excitement at this sudden change. No, the aura is still rising. It's not the Martial King realm Nirvana realm, but the complete Martial King realm. It has already stepped into the complete Martial King realm. Suddenly, Yi Wuming seemed to have discovered something again. The aura of the golden-winged roc that covered the sky, attracted lightning, and shone with golden light had already stepped into the complete Martial King realm. The aura of a perfect Martial King had already surpassed that of a Martial King. Furthermore, it was accompanied by all sorts of terrifying energy pressure that spread out. At this moment, even Dr. Wuming, a true martial emperor expert, felt his heart tremble in fear. Medicine King, why do I feel that the aura of the complete martial lord realm is even more terrifying than an emperor-level expert? Peerless Sword King, Chan Yuxiu, and the others were incomparably shocked. Under the might that spread out, they trembled with fear for no reason. No, there's also the aura of a 6-star Nirvana realm talisman master. No, that's still not right. That's the aura of a 6-star talisman master. Suddenly, Medicine King Yi Wuming was shocked again. He felt the aura of a talisman master spreading within the rolling purple flames. That was clearly the aura of a 6-star talisman master, but that level of soul power and terrifying might made him, a 7-star talisman master, feel fear. Rumble. The rolling purple flames on the barren mountain devoured the lightning. The golden-winged rock's shadow in the sky soared up. The energy whistled through the horizon, shaking the 9 heavens with a deafening sound. Screech. Another screech resounded, the sound piercing through the clouds. At this moment, the barren mountain was trembling violently, and the stone city was shaking. Roar. Outside the stone city, thousands of beasts in the savage beast mountain range were trembling and roaring. In the next moment, under countless astonished gazes, a huge bird slowly emerged from the rolling purple flames on the barren mountain. It appeared above the stone city out of thin air. The terrifying giant bird was wrapped in rolling purple flames, like a purple sun that covered the sky. It appeared in an incomparably terrifying manner in front of everyone. This purple giant bird was like a phoenix. It spread its wings and monstrous energy swept across. Its eyes were like purple suns overlooking the earth, shaking half of the sky. Rumble! The stone city was trembling and rumbling. Streets collapsed and courtyards collapsed. In the savage beast mountain range in the distance, huge cracks appeared on the endless mountain range. Towering trees collapsed one after another, mountain peaks collapsed, and the abyss shifted. The aura was too terrifying. The purple flaming demonic phoenix flapped its wings. Even the void that was filled with lightning and the brilliance of the stars seemed to be pushed aside by an invisible giant hand. A monstrous aura spread out from the purple flames, as if it was going to tear apart the endless sky above its head. Revered beast. Feeling the terrifying aura of the purple flaming demonic phoenix, Zhen Qingxuan's primordial spirit in the back mountain of the Du family was shocked. It's 8 o'clock today. After a day of hard work, eating a bucket of instant noodles, and watching the flowers soar, I would like to thank all my brothers and sisters for their support. Xiaoyu, go eat something first. Chapter 779. Rumble. At the same time, the frightening lightning and starlight in the sky seemed to have a great enmity towards the enormous purple flaming demonic phoenix. They had just been pushed aside, but in a short instant, they once again swept towards the phoenix. Gee! At this moment, it was unknown whether the purple flaming demonic phoenix was real or not. It roared and flapped its wings. Rolling purple flames covered the sky and swept across the sky. It was like a purple sun that could destroy everything. Rumble. However, at this moment, the surging lightning and starlight carried with it a frightening pressure of the world as it pressed down on them. Hula. A graceful figure appeared from within the purple flaming demonic phoenix. Her eyes were like purple suns, as if she could see through everything in the world. Her fingers were slender and her skin was smooth. There was a hint of purple in her snow-white skin. That graceful figure had a slender waist and long limbs. She had an otherworldly temperament like a fairy. She wore a purple robe that touched the ground. Purple flames covered her body. She was like a fairy that did not belong to the mortal world. When the woman appeared, she slowly stretched her body. Her lips curled up into a smile. Her eyes were as beautiful as fireworks. After that, the woman raised her head and stared at the rolling thunder and starlight in the sky. Her beautiful face froze and a voice rang out, "Damned human, I will take back the bones of the great rock next time." Her voice was like the sound of nature. Then, the graceful figure disappeared along with the terrifying purple flaming demonic phoenix. It flapped its wings and swept across the sky. Then, it slowly disappeared from the sky. Gee! In the sky above the stone city, the golden-winged great rock's eyes looked at the purple flaming demonic phoenix leaving. Its eyes shot out golden light and instinctively let out a cry. The sound wave pierced through the clouds. It spread its wings and a ferocious aura spread out, causing the entire space to tremble. Rumble! The golden-winged great rock continued to devour the lightning and starlight. Its supreme aura spread out and suppressed the heavens and the earth. In the golden sky, lightning flashed and thunder roared. The stars rotated and the earth shook. It was as if the heavens and the earth were shaking. It was shocking. Under countless gazes, this lasted for an hour. The domineering and terrifying aura caused the space to rumble. It was as if it wanted to turn the heavens and the earth upside down. In the stone city, the domineering energy fluctuation was like a sea. It was like a golden rainbow across the sky. Runes surged. Countless citizens of the stone city were all prostrating themselves on the ground. Success, he has succeeded. He has awakened that terrifying lightning power. Ren Yingying looked at the golden-winged great rock from afar. Only Ren Yingying and Zhen Qingchun could see everything that was in the golden-winged great rocks. At this moment, within the golden-winged rock's shadow, there was a tall and straight figure that was continuously devouring the power of lightning and starlight. This fellow seems to still be using the power of thunder and stars to temper his body. How terrifying would his physical body be in the future? Zhen Qingchuan's eyes trembled in astonishment. Du Xiaofu's body could be said to be that of a real golden-winged rock. At this moment, he was still using the power of thunder and stars to temper his body. His strength in the future could only be described as abnormal. It seems like I've really gotten into trouble. If the smelly old man knows about this, he'll probably scold me. I'm afraid that he won't let this guy off. Ren Yingying looked at the tall and straight figure that was swallowing the light of the stars, and her bright eyes moved slightly. Suddenly, a smile appeared on her face as she murmured, "This guy is really abnormal. He can really succeed. If he succeeds in the future, I'm afraid that those guys won't be able to do anything to him in the future. This is caused by me." Thinking about it carefully, it's actually quite a sense of achievement. Peak of Consummate Martial King Realm, Peak of Consummate 6-Star Talisman Master Realm. Kid, don't break through anymore. Steady yourself. Don't let the power get to your head. Foundation is the most important thing. Step by step, you can go further. Zhen Qingchun looked at the movement on the barren mountain. His primordial spirit body was already trembling with excitement at this time. Zhen Qingchun spied that Du Xiaofu's aura was soaring like a rocket. However, if it soared too high, it wouldn't be purely a good thing. Therefore he was more worried. Otherwise, those super clans and colossal figures would be able to use a lot of resources to easily cultivate their juniors into martial emperors and revered martial artists. There was no need for them to train so hard. However, that kind of breakthrough would make it difficult for them to make further progress in the future. For those super clans and colossal figures, what they wanted was not how many experts there were among the juniors. What they wanted was for the juniors to be able to reach a level that their ancestors had never reached. In the sky above the stone city, the thunderbolts and the stars turned into a vortex, revolving around the shadow of the golden-winged rock. The dazzling thunderbolts and the stars kept changing. Finally, they arranged themselves and merged into the shadow of the golden-winged rock. Whoosh! Streaks of thunderbolts and starlight surged into the shadow of the golden-winged rock like spiritual snakes. Then all the mysteries disappeared. Only the shadow of the golden-winged rock spread its wings, emitting a supreme aura that could suppress the heavens and the earth. Screech! This lasted for only about an hour. Suddenly, the shadow of the golden-winged rock screeched. It spread its wings and swept across the sky, blocking the thunderbolts and starlight. At this moment, the eyes of the shadow of the golden-winged rock were like two bright suns that illuminated the sky, overlooking the world. The domineering energy undulations were like the waves of the ocean. Rumbling sounds could be heard all around the stone city. Whoosh! Then, the huge shadow of the golden-winged rock gradually disappeared in the sky. In the sky, the terrifying thunderbolts and starlight also came to an end. They began to disperse under the shocked gazes of everyone. The strange phenomenon and terrifying commotion that had lasted for no less than half a year finally dissipated in the sky above the stone city. Everything returned to normal. In front of the Du family's gate, the terrifying commotion on the barren mountain disappeared. However, the barren mountain did not become a ruin. It was no longer a land of death. The place was full of vitality. It was covered by two kinds of mysterious plants that were spreading radiance. A mysterious grass densely covered the barren mountain. Its aura could purify one's mind and ward off evil. There was also a translucent grass that was shaped like a mushroom. It grew luxuriantly, and waves of terrifying energy rippled. It was full of vitality and spread throughout the stone city. Du Xiaofu's grave had been covered long ago. Nothing could be seen. Medicine King Yi Wuming immediately appeared on the barren mountain. He carefully inspected everything. Then, his expression changed drastically. He ordered the mysterious Dragon King, Flame Carp King, Golden Condor King, Silver Winged Demon Condor, and the others, seal this place and set up a seal array. No one is allowed to come close. Inside and outside the Du family bloodline members gradually returned to normal as the thunderbolts in the sky disappeared. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, waves of aura swept out from the Du family like waves of air. Zizi! The Du family members opened their eyes. Lightning raged in their eyes as if there were lightning bolts sweeping out. Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Du Zhenwu, Du Zhixiong, Du Hao, Du Ge, and the others' bodies were constantly rippling with lightning bolts. Their eyes were like lightning and they were majestic. The aura released from their bodies caused the surrounding people to tremble in fear. The Martial King realm is mysterious. I have broken through to the Martial King realm. Du Yunlong flew into the sky and sensed everything in his body. He waved his hand and lightning gathered in his palm. Endless energy spread out from his body as a mysterious thunderbolt energy awakened in his body. Initial Martial King realm. I have also stepped into the Martial King realm. Du Xiaoman flew into the sky. Her aura was also at the initial Martial King realm. A terrifying aura was released from her slender body. Her eyes were accompanied by flickering lightning bolts that shook one's soul. Du Zhixiong, Du Zhenwu, and the others' cultivation skyrocketed. Feeling the changes in their bodies, all the Du family members trembled. They realized that a terrifying thunderbolt energy had awakened in their bodies. The thunderbolt energy was growing in their bodies and it would definitely grow stronger in the future. Seal the news. Do not leak this information. Everyone must be careful. Du Zhenwu ordered all the Du family members. If this news was leaked, it would definitely cause a lot of trouble. Before they knew the reason, they must not expose it. I feel like I am 30 years younger. My body is filled with energy. Some of the Du family elders were excited. They felt a mysterious thunderbolt energy appear in their bodies, causing them to be filled with vitality again. The thunderbolt in their bodies had awakened the mysterious thunderbolt energy, causing them to become stronger. It's third brother. It's all third brother's doing. Du Yunlong entered the barren mountain but he could not find anyone. However, he could feel that because of the baptism of the thunderbolt, the mysterious thunderbolt energy in the Du family members' bodies was awakened and started to recover. Where's third brother? I can feel that third brother is definitely still alive. Du Xiaoman said. On the barren mountain, Du Xiaofu's figure could not be found. There was also no trace of him in the wooden coffin. Du Yunlong's eyes were filled with determination as he said, I believe that third brother is still alive. He must have his reasons for not showing himself. At the back of the Du family's mountain, on top of a mountain peak, a purple-robed youth stood tall. The purple-robed youth had a broad sword wrapped in purple cloth behind his back. His figure was tall and straight. The overbearing and majestic aura that emanated from his body caused the heavens and earth to tremble. Chapter 780. The purple-robed young man stood there quietly. His figure did not move at all, and the space around him seemed to have frozen. It was as if a world was being nurtured in his eyes. It was like a vast galaxy with flashes of lightning and purple flames burning. The golden rock was about to flap its wings and fly out. After a long time, the light in the purple-robed young man's eyes gradually subsided and became clear again. Peak of perfection, Martial King Realm. Peak of perfection, 6-star talisman master. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. He could feel the profound energy surging within the God's Gate in his body. A phantom of a 5-finger mountain was guarding the God's Gate, absorbing the pure profound energy to nourish it. In Xiao Chen's mind, a vast aura spread out from the ball of light. It could see through the entire stone city and spread to the Savage Beast Mountain Range, the Flowing Cloud County, and Lanling City. At this moment, Du Xiaofu felt as if he could sweep through space with a wave of his hand, suppress all kings, and fight against emperors. Probing with his consciousness, Du Xiaofu discovered that his golden rock wings were still on his body. In his mind, the desolate ancient space rotated, releasing a misty radiance. In his chest, a new heart was beating. It was strong and powerful, like the beating of a drum. The rising sun hung high in the sky, and the sunlight poured down, illuminating the mountains. It's great that I'm still alive. Du Xiaofu raised his head slightly and stretched out his arms, allowing the sunlight to envelop his entire body. His clear eyes were filled with joy. He had not died and had come back to life. He had a new heart and was reborn from the destruction. Whoosh whoosh, space rippled as 2 figures appeared at the peak of the mountain. It was a man and a woman. One was corporeal while the other was corporeal. The girl was about 17 or 18 years old. Wrapped in a light green long dress, her small waist outlined a graceful arc. She was like a real immortal that had descended to the mortal world, untainted by the mortal world. Even if there were other peerless beauties standing in front of this young girl, they would immediately be overshadowed. The man's body was slightly illusory, and he looked like he was in his 20s. He looked extremely wretched, but after looking at him for a long time, one would get used to it. Du Xiaofu put down his hands and turned back to look at the illusory young man. His clear eyes revealed a smile as he said, "Brother Qingchen, did you think of me?" The young man's eyes, Qingchun. The youth's. His eyebrows inverted, his triangular eyes. He stared at Du and his eyes rippling. Brat, you. You brat. You. Du Xiaofu. Qingchun Jun Jun. His Jun. Jun Qingchun Jun Feng Jun have a his Jun. To live, you. You. The girl walked towards Du Xiaofu and circled around him. Her eyebrows were curved, and her face was otherworldly. Her jet black hair fluttered gently in the wind. In the end, she stared at Du Xiaofu's chest. Her eyes were bright and full of shock. She stared at Du Xiaofu and continued, "The aura of the grass of immortality, the purple flame demonic phoenix, the golden winged rock, and that treasure. If I'm not wrong, it's very likely that it's a treasure that's not inferior to the grass of immortality. In addition to the power of thunder and the power of the stars, your new heart is completely made up of a pile of treasures. It won't be easy to kill you now." Du Xiaofu stared at the girl in front of him. Her tall and slender body was like a green lotus, pure and untainted by dust. Looking at the bright eyes of this girl, Du Xiaofu felt a sense of déjà vu. Du Xiaofu still remembered that in his dreamscape, there was a fairy-like figure that appeared. It was the girl in front of him. Probing the aura of the girl in front of him, Du Xiaofu discovered that the aura of this girl was as vast as the sea. The more he probed, the more vast it became. It was like a boundless galaxy, boundless and without end. "I can feel that you saved me before," Du Xiaofu said to the girl in front of him. This girl had a special aura, and she seemed to have a certain connection with him. That connection was extremely mysterious. It was like their hearts were connected. "It's good that you know. Remember, you owe me a life. In the future, you have to unconditionally agree to a condition of mine." The girl's cherry lips were red. She pouted and said to Du Xiaofu, "Feel it and see if there's anything wrong." Du Xiaofu nodded and didn't refuse. The aura in his body fluctuated, and a terrifying golden light erupted from his body. Crackle. Within the golden light, flashes of lightning spread out. There was a purple flame fluctuation, and the sound of thunder could be heard. It was extremely powerful. I'm fine. I'm alive. Retracting his aura, Du Xiaofu was full of smiles. This time, he thought that he would leave this world with regrets. From then on, he would be separated by heaven and earth. He would never be able to see his loved ones again. But now, he was alive again. This feeling made Du Xiaofu's heart tremble. Many thoughts ran through his mind. What a terrifying aura. The power of thunder. You've awakened the power of thunder. This aura is so strong. Could it be that you're from the legendary clan? Ren Yingying felt the aura of Du Xiaofu's body and murmured. What's your name? Why did you save me? Have we met before? Du Xiaofu looked at Ren Yingying. He felt that he had seen her somewhere before. This feeling was extremely familiar. My name is Ren Yingying. I saved you because it was convenient. You just have to remember to promise me one thing unconditionally in the future, Ren Yingying said. Her eyes were bright and refined. It's good that you're alive. You've avoided everyone. Do you have any plans in the future? Zhen Qingchuan's voice was trembling. She suppressed her joy and did not show it. Zhen Qingchun looked at Du Xiaofu carefully. This guy did not show up in public. Zhen Qingchun guessed that this guy must have his own plans. Otherwise, he would not be like this. If the news that I'm alive spreads, I'm afraid it will cause some trouble and make some people uneasy. Du Xiaofu looked at the distant sky. There was a touch of coldness in his eyes. He said, I've saved my life. I won't lose it so easily. Smart. If you show up, I'm afraid many people will be uneasy. Ren Yingying curled her lips. She looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled with appreciation. Then she asked, What plans do you have? Can you tell me? I'm actually very curious. Strength. I want to increase my strength. Du Xiaofu's clear eyes shone brightly. He said, I've just broken through. I feel that there are many profound meanings that I need to comprehend. I want to go into seclusion for a period of time to comprehend them. You've broken through a lot this time. You should go into seclusion to stabilize your cultivation. It will be beneficial for you in the future. Zhen Qingchun nodded. Take me into seclusion. I haven't recovered yet because of saving you. Ren Yingying looked at Du Xiaofu and said. Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. This girl in front of him was really puzzling and strange. That's right, Brother Qing. Do you know what this is? Suddenly, Du Xiaofu seemed to have thought of something. Then a small thing appeared in his palm. This little thing curled up in Du Xiaofu's palm. When it curled up, it was exactly the size of Du Xiaofu's palm. This little thing's whole body was overflowing with green light. There was some starlight on it, and a pair of thin purple wings covered its back. The little thing's head was like a dragon's. Its small black eyes glowed with golden light. It was curiously looking at Ren Yingying and Zhen Qingchun, who were beside Du Xiaofu. This is... Zhen Qingchun looked at the little thing in Du Xiaofu's palm. His face suddenly changed. He seemed to have felt something. He said, Where did this come from? It should be from the dragon saliva I obtained in the Chang River of the central continent. I don't know what happened, but it turned into this little thing. Du Xiaofu felt that the little thing in his palm seemed to be very close to him. Its aura was also very strange. It seemed to be able to connect with him. Dragon. This little thing is the descendant of a real dragon. Suddenly, Ren Yingying shouted. She seemed to be a little excited. Her chest rose and fell. She said, Let me see. Descendant of a real dragon. Hearing the words descendant of a real dragon, Du Xiaofu immediately retracted his hand. He did not want Ren Yingying to touch it. Whoosh, however, Du Xiaofu did not expect that the little thing in his hand would be as fast as lightning. Its speed was unbelievably fast, and it directly landed in Ren Yingying's arms. The little thing stuck out its tongue intimately. It lay in Ren Yingying's arms as if it had seen its family. It completely ignored Du Xiaofu's feelings. Ren Yingying glared fiercely at Du Xiaofu. Then she proudly hugged the little thing in her arms intimately. Real dragon. This could be a real dragon. But it's strange. This little thing has wings. It seems to be related to the purple flame demonic phoenix. It also seems to be related to your golden-winged great pung. Strange. Zhen Qingchun looked at the little thing in Ren Yingying's arms. Its whole body was covered in a green hazy mist. It was shrouded in a divine aura. There was no doubt that it was the descendant of a real dragon. However, there were many strange things about it. Real dragon? Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. Real dragon. It was not an ordinary dragon. It was said that the real golden-winged Great Pring fed on dragons. However, it was also a mortal enemy of the real dragon. Chapter 781. Little thing, come back here. The descendant of a true dragon made Du Xiaofu's eyes light up. He shouted at the little thing in Ren Yingying's arms. He didn't want Ren Yingying to take the little thing away. Hiss! Hearing Du Xiaofu's shout, the little thing seemed to know that Du Xiaofu was scolding it. It raised its head and looked at Du Xiaofu. After looking at Du Xiaofu with a wronged expression, it looked at Ren Yingying with its watery eyes and tried to crawl into Ren Yingying's arms. Why are you so loud? You're scaring it. Ren Yingying protected the little thing in her arms and rolled her eyes at Du Xiaofu. After nightfall, in this blurry space, time was doubled. So the heaven talisman is in your hands. Ren Yingying appeared in this blurry space with the little thing in her arms. She looked around and muttered softly. What did you say? Du Xiaofu looked at Ren Yingying and asked. This woman seemed to be muttering something just now. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu's gaze was fixed on the little thing in her arms. Was this little thing really the descendant of a true dragon? Nothing. Ren Yingying pouted. Her body was curvy, her eyebrows were curved, and her eyes were bright. She was like a fairy under the moon. She was extraordinary. Du Xiaofu frowned and looked at this woman. She was quite pretty, but he didn't know why she kept following him. Seeing that she saved him before, Du Xiaofu couldn't reject her. He could only let her follow him. Actually, Du Xiaofu felt that this girl was unfathomable. Even with his current strength, he might not be able to suppress this girl. He had no choice but to let her follow him. Why do you keep looking at me? Ren Yingying looked at Du Xiaofu. She was very beautiful and very moving. You're quite pretty. Du Xiaofu spoke the truth. This young girl was indeed very beautiful. Most importantly, she had a natural temperament that was rarely seen in the mortal world. It was as if she had transcended the mortal world. What are you trying to do now? Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, for some reason, Ren Yingying immediately became vigilant and subconsciously covered her mouth. What can I do to you? Du Xiaofu rolled his eyes at Ren Yingying. The only thing he wanted was to get that little thing back. Ren Yingying looked at Du Xiaofu with a sly look in her eyes. She curled her lips and said, Who knows? I'm so beautiful, who knows what you want to do? But I'm warning you, if you dare to plot against me, I'll definitely make you regret it. Du Xiaofu was startled. He glanced at Ren Yingying and spoke after 3 breaths, You're quite shameless. What do you mean by that? Am I ugly? I think I'm quite pretty. Ren Yingying raised her head and puffed out her chest. Her figure was exquisite and beautiful. Her temperament was extraordinary. She was indeed very beautiful. Du Xiaofu did not speak anymore. He simply walked to the side and said, I'm going to go into seclusion. You should heal your wounds as well. Once you're healed, we'll mind our own business. Are you trying to chase me away? Ren Yingying walked towards Du Xiaofu. Her eyes flickered with a holy light. She said, Oh right, how long are you going to be in seclusion? I don't know either. I feel that there are many profound mysteries in my body that I need to comprehend. This is the best time to comprehend them. If I miss this opportunity, the effects in the future will be much worse. Du Xiaofu said. Right now, there were many profound mysteries in his body, waiting for him to comprehend them. This was the best time to do so. Go, comprehend them well. I won't disturb you. When Ren Yingying put on a serious face, she was still as beautiful as an immortal. Her temperament was very unique. When she smiled, there was a hint of intelligence and seduction. When she was serious, there was a kind of extraordinary beauty. She was like a goddess under the moon, causing people to be in awe. Hence, Du Xiaofu sat down cross-legged to comprehend everything in his body. Du Xiaofu felt that the girl called Ren Yingying did not have any evil intentions. Otherwise, she would not have saved him. Hence, he was not worried. Moreover, Du Xiaofu could feel that there was a special connection between him and the girl. It was an indescribable feeling. It was like their hearts were connected and they trusted each other. After a while, Du Xiaofu's body started to be wrapped in golden light. Accompanied by some lightning, there was a faint fluctuation of starlight. In a short period of time, he was immersed in a state of selflessness. With this guy's talent, the lightning martial vein and the power of the stars, those guys will not be able to do anything to him in the future. Ren Yingying muttered as she looked at Du Xiaofu's back. Then, she put the little thing aside and sat down cross-legged to regulate her breathing. After a while, Ren Yingying's beautiful body was also covered in a layer of hazy starlight. That kind of beauty was so beautiful that it could topple all living things. I heard that everyone in the Du family has increased in strength. Many people in the city have broken through. It's our Rock Emperor who has appeared to protect our desolate country. Time passed slowly and the Stone City gradually regained its peace. However, there was still a heated discussion about the strange phenomenon that happened half a year ago. The old people all believed that it was the Rock Emperor's death that blessed everyone and brought benefits to the city. There were also rumors that the Rock Emperor had turned into a phoenix and left. That day, the whole city saw the terrifying giant purple bird that left. There were many different versions of the rumors. The desolate land outside the Du family had become the ruins of a miracle and no one could go near it. The news of the desolate country's founding, the establishment of the Stone City as its capital and the chaotic Demon City as its auxiliary capital, the Rock Emperor, Du Xiaofu, had spread far and wide. In the dark forest, the city started to be divided. During the war between the four great empires, countless people rushed into the dark forest. In addition to the prosperity of the dark forest, there were many people. In the World Society's Heavenly Beast Hall, many experts and old people were conferred the title of Marquis. Mu Mingqing, Third Fatty Wan, Dark Wolf, Phantom Shadow, and the others who came back from the Courage God Manor were all conferred the title of Marquis. A country was gradually taking shape. In the misty space, Du Xiaofu's body was covered in golden lightning and starlight. His mind was immersed in the sea of enlightenment. After this resurrection, Du Xiaofu felt that there were many powerful energies in his body. His body seemed to contain the power of thunder, the power of stars, the power of the grass of undying, and a treasure leaf given to him by the old woman in that clan. Finally, there was a purple flame that contained a great amount of power. That was the purple flame demonic phoenix. Du Xiaofu still remembered seeing the terrifying purple flame demonic phoenix in the Savage Beast Mountain range. At that time, the terrifying purple flame demonic phoenix and the golden-winged rock had a fierce battle. In the end, both sides were injured. After this resurrection, Du Xiaofu felt the traces of the purple flame demonic phoenix. The purple flame demonic phoenix seemed to be hiding in his body. In the end, it seemed to have asked him for the bones of the golden-winged rock, but he did not know why it left in a hurry. However, when the purple flame demonic phoenix left, it left behind many mysteries and beast energy in Du Xiaofu's body. It was not much weaker than the golden-winged rock. If he could comprehend it, he would be able to have a terrifying power. The grass of immortality, the mysterious treasure leaf, and the power of stars were accompanied by many mysteries. It was like a vast ocean that Du Xiaofu could absorb nutrients. Of course, Du Xiaofu felt that the strongest was the power of stars and the thunder martial vein that he seemed to have completely awakened. The power of stars was gentle and vast. It was boundless and mysterious. The thunder martial vein's aura was strong. The killing intent spread. It did not have any killing intent, but it showed the majesty of creation. It showed the righteousness of heaven and earth. It was vast and mighty, and it could punish the common people. Immersed in comprehending, Du Xiaofu thirsted for strength. If he had enough strength in that clan, perhaps the outcome would not have been like this. He saved his younger sister with his heart, and he had no regrets. However, if he had enough strength, he would not have allowed himself to be trapped like a beast. He would not have allowed his drunkard father, mother, and younger sister to be separated. When he was reborn, his drunkard father's whereabouts were unknown. His mother and younger sister were still in that clan. Little Green, Little Demon, and Little Tiger's whereabouts were unknown. He had not avenged Tianwu Academy, and he had not yet rebuilt it. Du Xiaofu did not want to miss out on all of these regrets. All of these required strength. He needed absolute strength to support it. Du Xiaofu's thirst for strength had reached its peak. After coming into contact with that clan, Du Xiaofu was even more aware of the difference in strength between him and them. Immersed in comprehending, Du Xiaofu comprehended the many mysteries in his body. He comprehended the grass of immortality, the changes on the mysterious treasure leaf, and the power of stars. The mysterious runes on the talisman flickered and evolved before Du Xiaofu. They arranged themselves, changed, and condensed. Everything in the world had spirituality. Every blade of grass, every tree, every grain of sand, and every rock had spirituality. Before Du Xiaofu, the mysterious runes on the talisman flickered. They would turn into a star in the void, a stalk of grass of immortality, and a mystical treasure leaf. Du Xiaofu's body would occasionally flicker with lightning, killing everything in its path. Occasionally, purple flames would surge, incinerating everything. Occasionally, the radiance of stars would illuminate the vast firmament. There was also the silhouette of the golden-winged great rock soaring into the sky, suppressing the void with its 5 golden fingers. Du Xiaofu was completely immersed in comprehending. This time, he displayed his firm foundation, which contained many terrifying mysteries. His foundation was firm and unshakable, reflecting his boundless potential. If it were anyone else, they would have been crushed to death by the sheer amount of profound meanings they were trying to comprehend. Even if they didn't go berserk, they would have been crushed to death. Brothers, that's all for today's update. Rest well. Chapter 782. Du Xiaofu realized that the mysterious treasure leaf in his body was emitting an aura that made his spirit clear. The spirit root in his body was no longer suppressed. It could merge with heaven and earth, allowing him to get closer to all the mysteries. With the aura of the mysterious treasure leaf and the unsealed spirit root, Du Xiaofu was like a fish in water when it came to comprehending the mysteries. Comprehending the mysteries, comprehending the grass of immortality, the mysterious treasure leaf, the star mysteries, the lightning vein, the mountain vein spirit, the purple flame demonic phoenix's beast ability, the golden rock's beast ability, the mysterious move, Du Xiaofu felt that his foundation was becoming more and more stable. His body was being refined and refined. This was a type of refinement that didn't involve his physical body. It was a type of refinement that couldn't be described with words. Under this type of refinement, Du Xiaofu felt that he was just a speck of dust in the universe. He was so small and he was absorbing the energy in the universe to strengthen himself. This process was too wonderful for words. There were endless changes that turned into many mysteries that surged into his body. Du Xiaofu felt that he was like a 5-fingered mountain that could suppress everything. He was like a star that could merge into the vast galaxy. He was like a stalk of the grass of immortality that could be full of vitality. He was like lightning that could kill everything. All the mysteries started to appear in his body. Du Xiaofu's spirit was clear and his mind was calm. He was like a fish swimming in the sea or an eagle soaring in the sky. He was completely focused and entered a wonderful state of comprehension. To be able to enter such a state was definitely not something that an ordinary person could do. Without great willpower, wisdom, and perseverance, one wouldn't be able to enter such a state of comprehension. This was a type of great enlightenment. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to enter such a wonderful state. This time, a new heart was born from the destruction. All kinds of energy treasures turned into flesh and blood under the destruction of lightning. It was like all kinds of energy treasures had buried a treasure seed in Du Xiaofu's body. But if this seed needed to germinate and grow, then it required Du Xiaofu to condense, comprehend, and guide it in every way possible before it could germinate, take root, and grow. After an unknown amount of time, in the misty space, the starlight around Ren Yingying's body disappeared. She opened her eyes, which were as deep as the stars. Ren Yingying looked ahead, her eyes flickering. She saw Du Xiaofu sitting cross-legged. The power Upanishad around him was changing endlessly. It was as if he was covered in divine light. What a powerful guy! Ren Ren Inying. Ren 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 Inying. She knew how strong he was. She knew how strong he was. Strong Chin's Inying. During the inspection, Ren Inying had discovered that it was because that fellow didn't want to die. He had always wanted to live in the depths of his heart. That was why that strange and terrifying martial vein spirit mark was able to protect his last trace of life from being extinguished. She just guided him and sped up his rebirth. In the end, she gave him a chance. The peak of the complete martial king realm is so abnormal. Ren Inying seemed to have sensed something. She looked at Du Xiaofu with a look of astonishment in her eyes. Hiss hiss, little thing jumped into Ren Inying's arms. It flicked its tongue and its black eyes rippled with watery golden light. It seemed to be saying something. Are you hungry? Ren Inying looked at the little thing and took out a stalk of spirit medicine. Hiss hiss. Little thing's eyes lit up. It opened its mouth and swallowed the spiritual herb. Its watery golden eyes were full of satisfaction. Since you have star runes on you, I'll call you Little Star from now on. Ren Inying looked at Little Thing and muttered to herself, it's decided. You'll be Little Star from now on. Night covered the sky. A new moon hung in the sky. The moon was dark and the stars were bright. Swoosh swoosh, several figures landed on the mountain peak. Under the dim starlight, their eyes shone brightly in the darkness. The stone city is in front. When the boss comes, we can take action. It's said that the medicine king Yi Wuming is in the stone city. That guy is now a 7-star talisman master. There's also the silver-winged demonic condor and a few demonic beasts. They're not weak. I'm afraid it won't be easy to take action. The stone city has had a strange phenomenon for half a year. Someone saw the birth of a demonic phoenix and a treasure. It must be a great treasure. It's worth it. Besides, we're not the only ones taking action this time. Many brothers from the underworld are coming. There should be a lot of people taking action this time. Many old fellows hiding their names have come. It's said that a great treasure has appeared in the stone city. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. We can't miss it. I heard that the Du family has an extraordinary relationship with the Ancient Heaven sect. The Rock Emperor Du Xiaofu is a disciple of the Ancient Heaven sect. He also has a close relationship with the Profound Talisman sect. The mountain is high and the emperor is far away. When we get the treasure, who knows if it's us? We'll just avoid the people of the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect. Let's go and find out the situation first. When the boss comes, we can take action directly. Several figures flashed and disappeared from the mountain peak. At night, in the Du family's main hall in the Stone City. Medicine King Yi Wuming, Du Yunlong, Silver-Winged Demonic Condor, Black Dragon King, Flame Carp King, Extinction Sword King, Golden Condor King, Du Xiaoman, Du Zhenwu, and Du Zhixiong were all sitting upright. Recently, there have been a lot of hidden experts around the Stone City. There are many martial kings. They should be from the central region. Yi Wuming frowned slightly. It seems like they're all here for the treasure. Du Yunlong's eyes glowed with a sharp light, like a bolt of lightning, filled with sharpness. It's said that a peerless treasure has appeared in the Stone City. A purple flame demonic phoenix has appeared. It's not surprising that some people are here. Yi Wuming said, but it's troublesome for us. There are a lot of experts here. Once they take action, it'll be disadvantageous for us. Come on, we'll kill as many as they come. Then they won't dare to come. The silver-winged demonic condor was handsome in white. His face was noble and evil. At this moment, he was almost at the peak of the Beast King realm. With the power of the rock in his body and the Fuyao heaven-shaking fan in his hand, the silver-winged demonic condor felt that even if he encountered a martial emperor, he had the ability and strength to fight head-on. Be careful. When the time comes, try not to affect the residents of the Stone City. Yi Wuming's face turned serious. He was not afraid of fighting. He was afraid that once they fought, the entire Stone City would be destroyed. Du Xiaoman's eyes moved slightly and murmured, I'll go find Brother Qing Chun and think of a way. In the misty space, Du Xiaofu was enveloped in divine light. The talisman patterns around him were bright as if there were stars rotating. The grass of immortality fluctuated, the mysterious treasure leaf spun, the shadow of the rock flapped its wings, purple flames rolled, and the golden five-fingered mountain suppressed. Everything was connected to his divine soul and flesh. It was mysterious and wonderful. Du Xiaofu's foundation was constantly being tempered and stabilized. His divine soul was constantly being strengthened. In the great enlightenment, in his own comprehension, he was still motionless. This guy, how much longer is he going to comprehend? I'm almost bored to death. Ren Yingying was depressed. The time inside was extraordinarily long. She had already breathed and adjusted her breath several times to wake up, but that guy was still comprehending. Little Star was lying in the misty space. Its watery golden eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu. It looked as if it was comprehending something. Its whole body was emitting divine light, rippling. Little Star, you're comprehending too. Ren Yingying was surprised. That little thing was comprehending ultimacy from Du Xiaofu. Phew! After an unknown period of time, the multicolored light spread out while the golden light fluctuated, and the surrounding illusory talisman markings transformed into numerous waves of air that drilled into Du Xiaofu's pores, mouth, and nose. Waves of aura entered Du Xiaofu's body. It looked extremely mysterious. When everything disappeared, Du Xiaofu's cross-legged figure appeared clearly. Light spread out from his body, and his skin seemed to be crystal clear. Chi. When Du Xiaofu opened his eyes, there seemed to be a vast galaxy in his eyes. There were flashes of lightning and golden light fluctuations. Boom! A terrifying aura rippled out from Du Xiaofu's body, causing the entire misty space to tremble. Why do you look like you've changed into a different person? Ren Yingying stared at Du Xiaofu. She felt that although this fellow looked exactly the same as before, he seemed to have undergone a huge transformation. He was different now, exuding a transcendent aura. Now I should have made up for all the time I've lost. Du Xiaofu smiled. His eyes became clear again, deep and vast. No one could see through him. In this desolate space, Du Xiaofu estimated that he should have comprehended for 2.5 years. Outside it was 3 months. Adding the half a year of his new life, and the time he lost when he was seriously injured, he should have made up for it in this seclusion. You seem to have improved a lot. Ren Yingying looked at Du Xiaofu and said curiously. At this moment, Ren Yingying could feel that this guy in front of her was much more stable and vigorous than before he went into seclusion. I've comprehended some things. I'll continue to comprehend when I have time. Next, it's time to break through to the martial royal realm and become a 7-star talisman master. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.